I'm nervous.
Yeah. Look at your face. I love that smile.
What, when you feel like you're like?
Yeah, I mean, I just pretend like I'm just talking with you.
Yeah.
You just don't let it get in your head. Or also, I just think you don't think about. Whenever I'm speaking, I used to get really nervous. I was super scared of doing anything public speaking wise, as in it's my worst nightmare when I was in school. But I just learnt that it was because I wasn't talking anything that I was passionate about. And I find that if you can stop thinking about what people are thinking of you, it's selfish to think, how are these people watching, perceiving me? What I think about is, what do they need to hear? And if I think about that, then it's not about me and the mistakes that I make. If I stuff up my words, it doesn't matter. It's what's the message that I'm actually saying, and is it helping people? Yeah.
Do you feel like you've always felt that though, like a certain level of being self-conscious about what you say or do? Or once you found your passion, it was just like, nah, this is fine now. Like, I'm speaking from the heart or speaking the truth.
I mean, we're a big believer in reps, as in we think that if anything's uncomfortable, if you do it enough, it gets more comfortable. As in when I first started Mega Run, which was our run clubs, when I got up and did a speech, Will put me on the spot. He just goes, all right, Meg's going to give a speech. And there's like 150 people there. I hadn't got anything planned to say. And I just got up and bumbled my way through a speech. And then you just realize it's not as bad as what's the worst thing that can happen is you go blank and you stand up there in silence, and then someone prompts you to say something, as in no one's caring as much as you think that they are. So I just think, yeah, I think if the more that I do it, the better it becomes, the more comfortable it becomes. And yeah, I love it. I love that feeling that you get when you overcome something that you're scared of. As in, so if I am nervous to go and do a podcast or get up and speak in front of a run club, as soon as I've done it, I just feel fired up. It's like you've achieved something. It's great.
You've overcome. Do you ever play out the situation, worst case scenario, and realize it doesn't change anything in your life?
Yeah. Well, I definitely did more when I used to be super shy, and my family would call me socially awkward, as in because I was a gymnast really young and I was also academic. I spent all my time either at gym or at studying and at school. And so I didn't go to parties. I didn't really have that many friends. And so I just wasn't very good at being social, I guess. And to be fair, I've never really enjoyed going out partying. It's just not really my thing. But yeah, I think because of that, I just always thought, I just am socially awkward. And then it was through realizing that it was like I woke up one day and I just realized you can create whatever life you want. You just have to go out there and do it. And so I started doing everything that made me afraid. And then when even little things, like if I was scared of spiders and stuff, I would literally force myself to be the one that would get it out of the house if there was a spider in the house. And I felt like doing that built my confidence to do things that you're afraid of. And then you just realize, yeah, the worst case scenario of getting up there and going blank, when that happens, because sometimes it does, then you just realize it's nothing.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But conceptualizing that in your head is sometimes a good thing. As in, it's so funny. I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but when I very first started doing it, I remember thinking you could be in a cafe, pretty much get up and take all your clothes off and then leave the cafe, which would be mortifying. But someone might get a photo, they make a press article about you or something like that, and then it's just over. As in, it would probably go for a little while and then nothing. And so I think if that's the worst thing that could ever happen, and I'm not jumping up to take my clothes off in a cafe anytime soon, but I've just thought that would be mortifying for me. If that's the worst thing that happens, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, people forget the good and the bad and everything else.
Yeah.
It's like you're not that important.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, you just go along. Yeah, just don't get so caught up on that. You know when you think about all these people that are thinking about you, but you realize that no one actually cares?
No, and everyone's so focused on themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you find... Because obviously when you have a partner and someone else, you probably see everything in them that you should see in yourself. Like you would, like for example, you would see Meg as like, you can do this and you can do that. And you see this as this amazing person. And it's like almost if you could see yourself the same way, which you obviously do at times. And there is that self-belief still there. But since you guys have been seeing each other, have you felt like they've made you see yourself as that person more?
It's actually a great question. It's what built the relationship to be so strong at the start, and then it actually caused some problems in the relationship. So because at the start, because we believed in each other so much, I could see it for Meg and she could see it for me. And with Meg, it was, I can see you've got it. As in, you've got something so special about you. If you just locked into it and did some reps and put yourself out there like she did with the run clubs and everything else, as in, she just exploded. As a person, she just grew so much more. And then for me as well, because before I met Meg, I'd never had a girlfriend before. As in, I was the whole dude, go out, never have girlfriends, hook up with chicks, swear, talk about just garbage conversations outside of work, but as in just not reaching my potential as in terms of who I could be as a person. And Meg saw that in me and I saw the other side of Meg. So at the start, you're just building each other up all the time and your progression is just so fast. But then we actually found we never thought this would happen because we got to the point where then you're almost at each other if you're not being the best version of yourself.
You're almost like a coach, not a partner.
100%. And then especially because, man, we do everything together. We live together. We train together. We work together. Like there's not any moment. The only time we've ever spent apart from each other was Meg went to LA to do the speed project and she was away for 6 days. And that was for us, we're thinking this is a good thing because you're going to go spend some time by yourself, because when you're with other people, you rely on them too much. As in, I rely upon Meg to solve problems and she relies upon me to solve problems we should just be solving for ourselves. And so it has been interesting seeing, because we've been married for 3.5 years now, see that it was a thing that we thought was building the relationship, but then actually became a problem. And Trev Hendy's got a great quote. He says, what was once the solution will eventually become the problem. So once what was exciting then actually became a hindrance, because then again, we were just coaching each other and it's just, hey, I just want you to be my husband. No, I just want you to be my wife. And so then that's when we had to just take a step back and think, let's stop telling each other everything we see all the time. And I've got to let Meg make her own mistakes and she's got to let me make my own mistakes. And then when they make those mistakes, the big part is just, it all comes down to ego. It's just, you need to hold your tongue and instead of saying, I told you so, just being stoked that by you saying I told you so ruins the lesson. The lesson's gone. And then you got to deal with the same issue again the next week and the next week and the next week. But if you want an issue to resolve, you have to let someone learn it for themselves. Because we're so stubborn, man. As in, especially when you're the type of people, if you're an A-type personality, you want to progress in life, you want to get things done, you want to see what you're capable of doing. You have to be stubborn. The two go together. And so then, but that stubbornness can also, it comes from a lot of ego, is you have to be able to know that, well, I need to touch the stove 10 times to know it's hot. And Meg can tell me 100 times it's hot. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then I got to go touch it for the 100th time and then you actually learn. So yeah, that really good question. But now for us, it's more so about picking the moments of what do we actually help each other with? And then what do you step back and let you see the person that you really care about the most actually fail in a quoted. Yeah. And it's going to be great for us because we need to learn this before we have kids or else we're just going to be a helicopter parent, always telling them what to do all the time. And I see like the most capable people, it's because the parents just let them fail.
I think it's also changing it from it needs to be a belief rather than an expectation. I think that's where it's changed for us. As in, I hadn't even put that into words myself until talking about it. But as in, initially when we first meet and get a date and get married, because that all happened pretty quick for us, we had so much belief in each other. And don't get me wrong, we have so much belief in each other. But then it kind of becomes an expectation somewhere along the lines. And then expectation means you're not as gracious for it. So I think if we can switch it back to a belief rather than expectation. We are both so self-motivated and so driven and both want to be the best versions of ourselves. If we just keep our eyes on ourselves and believe in the other person, it's amazing. It's only when that belief switched to an expectation that then you're like, well, why aren't you doing this or why aren't you doing that? And it's like, just focus on yourself and then we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. When you said the parent thing, I really thought about that. I see a lot of parents that come in and they're like, you know when a lot of good intentions end badly? Like, I want to see the best for you, so I have good intentions, but then you absolutely destroy your kid's life through pushing them down a path they don't actually want to go down, or a partner, or a friend, or whoever it may be. And I think it's like you said, finding, like, it's just like balancing that role of supporting them, knowing when to pull back, knowing, like, you know when you said, like, I told you so. Like, my dad was quite an intelligent man, and he'd get in arguments with my mum, and he would be right a lot of the time because it would be over like pointless shit.
Yeah.
And I remember I said to him one day, I was like, would you rather be right, wrong, or happy?
Oh,
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And he kind of thought about it. And I was like, you are right, but you're fucking not happy because you get in this argument and go back and forth, and it's like, it's over shit. It's over nothing.
Yeah.
It's over maybe you should have done this or that, or just like a stupid stat that doesn't mean anything. And I watched my parents argue and fight over pointless shit to the point where dad would be right, mum would be wrong, and they'd both be unhappy. And it's like, you can choose to be happy in that moment and go, it doesn't matter. Like, kind of like pick your battles more or less. And I guess what you're saying here with you guys wanting to push each other, but knowing where it's like, I know the right answer here, but I'm going to let you figure it out yourself and maybe fail and maybe mess it up and then go, oh, now I really know. And then you not being there like, I told you so, or feeling like you're on your high, like the ego comes into play where you're like, I know more than you. Because I've seen relationships and people that have even come through this studio and done stuff, and they are very intelligent people, and they're very good at, like, they do a lot of life coaching, and you can see in their relationships that they play this role of mentor coach. And I can just see that in a relationship sense as being so tiring, because it's like, you're not equals now. You're like, they feel like they're here and they're almost looking down at someone, and they're like, oh, again, more or less. And I guess it's trying to figure out that balance of being like, we are on the same level and we're both learning, we're both failing, and that's okay, and not being so codependent in the long run.
Yeah.
Did you guys find when you guys...
That's so good, man, what you just said.
Well, it's like, you know, when you see it, like you really see it as a kid, and like, and I'm trying to channel that in like my relationships now, where it's, you're not trying to be better than the person, and you just want to be like, I want to be the best version of myself for myself, but the other person helps reflect that onto me.
Yeah.
Like, it's motivating, and it's like, you should be with the person that motivates you to be the best version of them, just because of who they are.
Yeah.
Not because of what they're telling you to do, not because of anything else, but you see who they are and you go, fuck, you're on this level, I want to get on that level, so I'm going to do all that I can to be on that level, and not tell you what I think you should or shouldn't do. Like, I'll support you with what you want to do, but I'm not going to tell you that you need to do that or this or whatever. It's like,
mate, if you can figure out how to do that, you're nailing it. It's a very hard thing to do, especially especially when you're in business with someone as well.
Yeah,
that's when it makes it challenging, because obviously finances play a big role in anyone's lives. And so then when you feel like it's not just a relationship, and that's what has been amazing for Meg and I, as in, if it wasn't going to work, it wouldn't have worked out by now. As in, from the, like, starting a new business is hard for anyone to do, but then to do that in a relationship and train together all the time, if it's not going to work out, you're going to know by now it's not going to work out. And as in, that's the challenge that we're working through, that it actually is making us stronger, is just realizing that what is the best long-term outcome. And sure, being right might make you hit the ego in the short term and might solve that one individual problem, but there's never one problem that is worth solving that ends up you being unhappy. It just doesn't work.
I guess what you're saying though with business though as well, that it comes into spots where you do want, like, for the benefit of the business, there's certain mistakes you don't want to happen. So then that ties you know what I mean? It's like, you don't want them to make a mistake that's then going to cost the business a lot of money when you know it, but you also want to come across in a kind way that's not just like, you're wrong.
Correct.
So that adds another. Was that, you said like that's obviously making you stronger now, but talk on that where it's like coming into being not just partners but business partners as well, like the pros and cons to doing that.
I was going to say, I think one of the keys, it's not necessarily what we face, but when we started, well, it is what we face. I don't know why I just said that. When we started business, working together, Will's the one who's had the experience in business. I've never done it before. So for me, I have to continually humble myself and remind myself that Will's the one who's got the business experience. I'm here learning, and I have other strengths, as in, I think recognizing within a partnership that it's not a bad thing to have strengths and weaknesses, and you both have different experiences, and you've just got to get the best out of both of you. So take the best from Will and the best from me and put that together towards it. And also think that it's not Will and me, it's our business together as one. As in, if I'm looking at Will as it's Will's idea versus Meg's idea. That's not a productive way to handle business. I think we have to do our best to separate, and we're not perfect at this, but we need to do our best to separate our relationship from our business and our business from our relationship. So when we're working, and we're not treating each other as if we're in a relationship. We're not mean to each other, but we just are different. And then vice versa, when we're in our relationship, we are fully in our relationship. And I don't know if this is the question you were asking, but we have to separate the time too, because we can actually often find ourselves, because we're so passionate about what we do, when we finish work, we then keep talking about it all the time. So we'll be on a date night talking about our business, which for us is really fun. But what we have figured out is an important, I guess, rule to have for us is that
this is a good rule.
Yeah, when we are out doing something socially for our relationship, we can talk about concepts of the business, but we can't talk about specific work checklists or
tasks. As in, you
that
need to
we
do
have
this
to
tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow.
So no tasks, just concepts. Because our relationship has always been built on concepts, because our brands are Mega and Train to Go. They are freaking sick, and they're life-encompassing projects, as in they are us in a business. So I think for us, our business is us. So of course we're going to be talking about it. I don't know how much else we would be talking about, because we don't go to dinner and talk about other people. So we're talking about our lives. So yeah, we do still talk about it, but it's concepts, not tasks.
Yeah, you're aware of, you don't want to overdo it, and you want to like, okay, what's the fun bit we can talk about that isn't just mindless emails or like replying to people or stuff like that. Like, how do we build it? How do we make it better?
Well, otherwise, when you're at dinner and you're saying, oh, did you do that? And did you do this? Or why didn't you do that? And why didn't you do this? That's not...
You're just having a business meeting
very romantic.
at dinner,
Yeah, and like you say, you guys do spend so much time with each other. You don't want to just become... And you do see it a lot with older people. They stop becoming partners. Like, they just become people that live together and work together.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying this to Meg just last night. Meg is blissfully unaware of how most of the world works, which I love. Because, and the reason why it is she's had such an amazing upbringing from her family. As in, Meg's parents, we're going down to Sydney next week. I'm racing with Meg's dad in a men's pairs, and Meg's
HYROX,
racing with her mum in a women's pairs. And Doug's 70, dude's an axe. We're so fired up to it. So, Meg's parents are amazing. They love each other so much. Their love for each other is amazing. And so that's what Meg's seeing growing up. And she thinks, oh, all relationships must love each other.
Then you came to the Gold Coast.
But I mean, it's not to knock other people, but it was just saying that a lot of what I'd had to, I wouldn't say help, but as in what a lot of what Meg has come to know is that there are so many different people in the world, and they have so many different types of relationships, and that not every relationship actually get along.
I think it's more that I have the perspective of that, because I know that we both want to be the best versions of ourselves and have our best relationship possible. I think that everybody does.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Which
point.
is not the truth.
Not
obviously.
the truth at all.
But I just genuinely, also because I've chosen to surround myself with everyone who is like that.
Yeah.
So then I think sometimes I forget that there's this whole other people that I don't know that aren't trying to be the best versions of themselves and just want to live a mediocre life or whatever it is. All the people in my circle and around me are people who are getting after it and going as hard as they can and want to have amazing relationships and want to put the time in and the work in, because at the end of the day, it is work. As in, I genuinely think one of the reasons why we have a strong marriage is because we're not afraid to talk about the crap stuff and go through challenging seasons and push through. As in, if it's an option to not do that, then most people will take that. But we've always said, it's funny sometimes if we are in a disagreement, and I want to share this because I think it's one of the best things that we do, especially if you're in a more heated argument or disagreement, we will look at each other, and because we're married, we'll give each other the ups, but with the ring finger, and just go, it's too late. It's too late. So, and it's so good because it makes it a little bit humorous. So then you are kind of filthy at each other, but then you giggle, and then you go, yeah, it is too late. So rather than me feel sorry for myself, you figure out, okay, actually this is another good one from Trev Hendy, is Trev Hendy said, put your problem on the dashboard. So rather than it being Will's problem or Meg's problem, it's on the dashboard, and together as a team, we're going to sort that problem out. Because it just...
And you can only do that when you're calm.
Yeah.
If you're not calm, it doesn't happen. It just becomes about, that's your problem, you need to fix this. So easier said than done. But I think, I mean, people ask us all the time about our relationship. the best piece of advice we can ever give is when you commit to someone, that's it. As in, the whole point of getting married, you have vows and you say till death do us part. And I'm not going to go and judge and comment on everyone's circumstances who've gone through divorces and things like that. Everyone's got their own reasons for doing things, but Meg and I believed in that when we said that. And we're Christians. We believe in God. We love Jesus. We love the Bible. And it's just so clear in there about how important marriage actually is and what it actually means to be married to someone. As in, that's meant to be you become one. And so it's like that. You can apply that mentality to racing at high level sport. You can apply it to your work. You can apply it to doing the dishes. You can apply it to your relationship. If you just say to yourself, splitting up is just never an option, then you're going to look at everything else to make sure that things are going to work and you're going to work through.
Yeah.
But because it just seemed to be so widely accepted now, it's not till death do us part. It's till inconvenience do us part. Until I find a more attractive partner do us part. And then people it's just so accepted to say, oh, I'm dusted, I'm out. And
Obviously
not
there
to judge other
circumstances,
people, but it's just for us, as in, man, we're always going to be honest. Man, we've had some really testing points in our relationship, really testing points. But if we didn't think that way, if we just accepted that, oh, look, heaps of people get divorced these days, we probably would have looked at it. But it's because we just had that from the start of just, once we're married, that is it. It's a very different conversation you have around going through hard times, because it's no longer, well, hey, if you don't do this, I'm out. Yeah. It's just, well, if you don't do this, like, it's going to keep making things worse. And why don't we try X, Y, and Z to move forward?
Figure it out.
Because no one has a perfect relationship, man. Like, no one does. And there's always going to be highs and lows. And I think Matthew McConaughey says it very well. And he says that in your relationship, there's going to be times where Meg's running and I'm struggling, or I'm running and she's struggling. And it's not just about being physical, it's just in terms of life. And it's about being able to give that person space and know that they're struggling, and not just grab and rip them forward, but just be the person they need to be at that time to help them, so you don't just split apart.
And not thinking, oh man, that person's slowing me down. It's like, well, actually last month you were technically slowing them down. So just accepting that there's going to be different seasons of your life all the time. But I also think having faith really helps us with our relationship, because it's not about us, it's about God. So we even if I felt like I didn't want to be with Will, which I haven't felt, but even if I felt like that, I would have faith that we're going to fix it, because I believe in God.
It'll work out. Do you think people are so attached to comfort these days with everything, relationships, food, exercise, everything, that, like you said, it's hard. Like when you're in a relationship, to build a relationship is hard. To have, like you said earlier, when you didn't see yourself getting married, you were just living, were you on the Gold Coast, or were you like when you were going out partying, hooking up with random people? Brisbane, like living that life, like that's easy.
Yeah.
There's no commitment, there's no emotional attachment. It's just fun and easy. And then as soon as you do meet someone, and like if you do meet the right person, they will show you all the good that comes out of you, but they'll also show you all the bad that comes out of you. And that's the part that people don't deal with. Like you said, like the right person for you is a reflection of you, but everyone thinks it's going to be a reflection of the good. And it's like, no, they'll show you all the shit that you're not dealing with. They'll show you all the insecurities you're not dealing with. They'll show you everything, and that comes up. Yeah. And that's what people don't want to work towards, and they get stuck in this like, well, I'll get to a few months or a few weeks or whatever, and then it'll get hard. And it's like, all right, jump off the ship.
Yeah, man.
And then because it's so true. Convenient and comfortable to just message another person or like see another person or something, it's like everyone's going through this thing. And like you said, like divorce rates are up, and then just like hookup culture is such a big thing these days. And I think probably because you are well-known, like a well-known couple that does all this stuff together and does look strong from the outside and obviously from the inside as well. But it's like people obviously want that. Like people want a proper connection. People want to build a strong relationship. But then it comes with that level of like, okay, well, you know, to build a good relationship, there is a certain level of like anything struggle that you have to go through to then get there. Do you feel like because you guys have competed and have that mindset around like on the other side of struggle, success kind of thing, and you felt that in the relationship when it is struggling, you do know like this is needed for the next stage in the relationship?
100%. There's a great quote: comfort is the sin of modern society. When I heard that, it just punched us both in the face. It's just, it just hits so hard. Comfort is the sin of modern society. As in, look at the room we're sitting in right now. Everything that we do as a progressive race as human beings is for comfort. It used to be for safety. Now it's for comfort because everything is so safe. So as in back in the day, you cavemen, that you didn't have structures. So then what they do was it's actually safer to be inside of a structure. And then that's progressed as to where we are now in terms of everywhere we go, it's all started off with the base. It's always the foundation of safety. But then as you move forward, it's just comfort, comfort, comfort.
Or survival, as in survival. But now because our brain's still living in the survival perspective, but technically our ability to survive is so easy now.
Yeah, survivability. I mean, especially in a first world country, like living on the Gold Coast, is in you don't have to actually think so much about survival. You just go to the fridge and get some food. Yeah. As in, it's not like you're having to go out there and hunt animals and do all that sort of stuff. And so everything now has become comfort and everything now has become convenience. So comfort is the sin of modern society. And so you're 100% right of when you say that. And Meg talks about this all the time. She posts about it on her social media. She does such a great job at helping people to understand it, is that if you don't choose hard things, you're going to struggle when the hard things come. And so if you don't voluntarily choose to do hard things in your life, then life is always going to be challenging. It's going to be a roller coaster of ups and downs. And so we definitely resonate with a lot of people who choose to do hard things, is because what happens is we call it the depth of their well. Most people's wells these days, and I'll just be honest with you, is quite shallow. So their depth perception of what's actually hard realistically isn't hard. But the challenging thing is when you have to have empathy for someone else, is because that's their hard though.
That's the hardest thing they know.
That's the hardest thing they know.
That reference point.
100%. So to them, that is genuinely hard. But again, most of them, and most even our troubles, and we do a lot of hard stuff, is first world problems. Yeah. So it's about trying to find out, well, when you're dealing with ourselves, we know that in our relationship, we're able to push harder and have deeper conversations and really work through things that people might not want to even talk about, is because when you go and do ultra marathons together, you really see the side of someone and what they're actually made of, because you can't make that up. You can't make up running 100K. You can't make up running 160K. When you go climbing in the mountains at 6,000 meters of altitude, and it's like everything you've got, and you can hardly move at a rate, and you're hungry, you're tired, you're sick, and everything else. The mask is gone. Like, that's just who you are as a person.
And that's what makes that bond even better, though.
Yeah, 100%.
You see them.
You
see them for them.
You can't hide, as in you're so physically and mentally depleted. You have no ability to say, well, I'm in a social setting, I need to act this certain way, because subconsciously we all do that. No one is just raw 100% of the time. The closest person may be Goggins, right? But the thing is, because it actually comes down to human nature, as in our number one instinct as human beings is survivability. And then as a result, if you want to feel like that you have a high chance of survival, well, the first thing is I need to be accepted by more people, because the more people you're accepted by, going right back to just basic caveman times, is that if you weren't accepted by your little inner circle or your crew, by your tribe, if you were rejected by that tribe, you die straight away, as in because you don't have the safety of your tribe. And so, I mean, Meg and I talk about this a lot with other people, and it makes them really understand rejection in a much more simplistic but a realistic way they can apply to their lives. As in, why does it feel like when someone says they went through a divorce, or they lost a job, or their business broke, or something like that, and people say, I felt like something in me was dying? That's actually biology. That's human instinct. That's what we've been designed to do from the very beginning, is in, for 90% of human existence, if you got rejected from your tribe, you died. It's only been in the last era that you can actually just leave this tribe and go to the next. That didn't happen for 90 to 95%, whatever the actual math is, of how long we've existed for. We're trying to think that we can just deal with rejection and it's no big deal. But if you get rejected by a friend, or you don't get invited to a party, or your business doesn't go well, or someone's just rooted you out, or if a guy goes to go pick up a girl and she just brushes him off, why does it feel so bad? There's a part in your brain that says, hey, you're about to die. You just got rejected from the tribe. Then once you realize that, then it goes back to what Meg was saying at the start about reps. The only way that we've known to practically overcome that is by continuously doing the reps in that position of fear or of potential rejection, and just knowing by doing the thing physically, I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
Or that person's opinion of me actually didn't jade who I am as a person, or what I thought was going to happen didn't actually happen as bad as it did.
It's just we're in a season of abundance, and there's too many options. There's too much of everything, where it's people are overeating, over consuming content, just everything is too much of everything. And so I think if we had to get back to a point where survival was the one goal that we had, as in obviously when people were faced with war and things like that, as in actually going to war, and I understand people still do, of course, but they're probably not facing the same problems that we are, then those problems that we're facing instantly become insignificant if you have an actual problem. Or you see all the people that when something goes wrong with their health, all of a sudden nothing else matters except their health. So it's like, what really is hard?
And you just go look at real life examples. As in, we went to Nepal and we climbed some mountains over Nepal, went to Everest Base Camp. We climbed a mountain called Lobuches. It was such an insane experience. You're in a mountain at 3,000 meters of elevation, right? We're struggling to walk and move.
3,000?
3,000 meters in this village.
Where? Lobuche is 6,000.
What, on the villages on the way up.
Oh, okay, right.
And you're seeing...
What do you mean 3,000?
Yeah, as in like you better get it right.
Yeah.
So it's 6,000 meters.
We're at 3,000 meters. So we're on the way up. We're on the trek. We're doing the base camp. We're going from...
Base camp's 5.3.
We're going from the airport...
Yeah. Just guys for the stats.
All the way up to base camp. We're halfway.
Right, wrong, or happy.
Wrong, or happy. Yeah, I'm very
so
unhappy
funny.
right now. Yeah.
Okay, 5,000 meters.
Yeah.
Mate, you're at this village, right? Yeah. Halfway up. You're 3,000 meters roughly of elevation.
Yeah.
And there's 3 ladies sitting down with their babies hung against their chest in a cloth sleeve, like sarong, whatever you want to call that. And their job all day, every day, is to have a basic hammer, and they're breaking down bigger rocks into smaller rocks. So they can use them, the men can use them for construction to go and actually build these walls. But the women are there all day, piles of rocks. And you walk past them and they look up at you and they have the biggest smile on their face just to see you. And you walk past one of their huts. They can't speak English. They will invite a random person into their house to share food with them, and they don't have much to share. They're not talking about depression over there. They're not talking about identity issues. They're not talking about what Susie said to Sally. They're not talking about how they got a cold coffee one day. As in, because they don't have all this excess and abundance of what Meg spoke about, they just feel blessed that they just woke up that day. They feel blessed. They have a job. They have a job, that they have their health.
They have their family.
And they have their family. And it's crazy to see what happens now is that we think we're the progressive ones in first world society. But like, what of all the problems that have come as a result of that? As in, people just struggle. And so, like, Meg and I, we don't drink, we don't go out, we don't party, we don't socialize that much. And it's just because we just realize it actually doesn't make us content. It's just not what actually fills our cup up. And so, but then going out and actually going to third world countries and seeing people like this who are happy to share the very little they have and be appreciative of what they have is because they don't even know what the abundance actually looks like, because all they're focused on is, am I healthy? Are my kids healthy? Can everyone eat? Do we have drinking water? Well, if we've got that, they're thanking God every day. They're like, we are so blessed. Look at this, is just amazing. But then we go out and get a cold coffee one day and it's like, I can't believe I got a cold coffee.
Yeah. Create our own suffering through shit that doesn't matter.
100%. But the thing is, but we fall victim to that too, isn't because you get caught up in this whole, I got this business. And like Meg and I just went to Worlds. We came second for the mixed pairs. We were so bummed. Just because we knew what we were capable of doing. I got really sick. We raced. It was one of the worst races I've had. But isn't at the same time, it's like even us in those scenarios, just sit there afterwards and just think, we're in Chicago. We're able to travel overseas. I've got a wife. We're racing together in this made up sport, running around a concrete circle. As in, like, this is amazing. We can even have our bodies to be able to do this. I even want to do this or have this opportunity to do this. Yeah. But very hard to live in that space, though.
You've got to actually effort that, though.
Yes.
I think that's where people get confused, is they think, I just feel like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get like that. I just say, well, I don't know. I just feel like this. I can't get my feeling to go. But if you speak it out and you actually you put in the effort to reshape your perspective, it takes effort. As in, that's what I think people miss, is that they think it's just a thing that you do. As in, Will's just a positive person. No, Will has put in work to either shape his perspective or practice thinking in a more positive way. It's
and that doesn't mean he's
controllable.
always positive either.
No.
You have terrible days, you learn how to deal with that and channel that.
Yeah, and it's just about how frequently you want to actually, I guess the more that you expose yourself to, I think the more happy or more grateful you are, and then you experience life from that perspective, you tend to be more happy. As in, Will is genuinely one of the happiest humans I've ever met in my life.
That's nice.
As in, you know how you see people who are up and down and up and down? It would be like 90%, maybe even more than that, up. As in, it's crazy. It inspires me because I can tend to fall into a fear mindset and stuff like that. And I have to constantly push past that. But for me, it was transformative when I learned that it was within my control.
I want to ask, there was kind of a question leading off this, but how much life do you feel like you may have missed chasing a goal when you said you're over here and you're just so focused on winning, but you look back and like you said, you didn't look at where you were, you didn't look at what was happening because you were so focused in. And I'm really interested because it's like, I think to focus in on a goal is so important to win, but have you felt like you've missed out on other things while focusing in on that?
Can I answer this
Yeah,
one?
you go for it.
I was just going to say, again, Trevor Hendy, he's impacted us so much and taught us so much. He said that there's a difference between winning at all costs and winning on all levels. And for me, that completely changed my perspective on how we live. As in, definitely it's not all the time, but we do our best to assess if we're enjoying the process or if we're only enjoying the outcome. And it may result in us changing what we're doing this year. We're discussing that at the moment. But yes, if you can learn, you can, in my perspective, before I learnt that understanding, I thought that in order for me to win, I needed to suffer my way through every single day, and every session I needed to feel like I'd nailed it, and just everything needed to be hard, I guess you could say. And I learnt that you can do that all year and then still not win, and then how are you going to feel after that? And I'd learned that through my previous sport, because I actually competed in sports aerobics and I won when I was 16, and then when I went back the following year I came second, and it felt like I'd wasted my whole year. So that moment technically set it up for me now that I do definitely try to enjoy the process more, where I think, am I enjoying what I'm doing? If I get to the end of the year and we don't win, is it going to feel like the whole year is wasted? But for us, we get to share every single training session that we do together is so epic. As in, I feel like we do a really good job of enjoying the process as well as enjoying the outcome at the end. Of course, we're human. It's going to be sad if you feel like... We always said that we would rather come second and do a time that we're really happy with in terms of HYROX than come first and just know that we didn't do what we were capable of. Yeah. We're very much, we never really feel disappointed after races as long as we know we've given it everything. It's only if you feel like something went really wrong
Let
or
yourself down.
Yeah. But I think learning to win on all levels is, you can still win, but you can also enjoy the process is a game-changing
I think that's
realization.
super important, especially like young athletes.
Yeah.
Because I think when you are a young athlete and like that is like first is just that's all I want, like first or last kind of thing. And you can create this real toxic thought pattern of going to a race and then you get second or you get third and you look at the whole weekend as a write-off or the whole year as a write-off, and you're like, look where you are, look who you're around, look what you're doing. Yeah. And one thing I struggle with in that, when I started to appreciate it more and enjoy it all, I was almost less disappointed on the result, but the less disappointment also stopped fueling me to compete at that highest level. It was like, you know, when you're happy all the time,
you don't feel like you need anything
as much. Yeah. So I felt like that was the catch-22 with it.
It's an interesting perspective. I mean,
you know what I mean? It's like,
that does 100%.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Like, look at Michael Jordan, for example.
Yeah.
He's still doing interviews caught up on games that he lost.
I got an interesting thought on this one, because I've heard who's the podcaster? Chris, what's his name?
Chris Griffin?
No, not Chris
Williams.
Griffin. Chris Williams.
Surely you know Chris Griffin's last name.
Not Chris Griffin. Chris Williams. I heard him say, people keep banging on about this lonely chapter, as in, oh, like you go and you're pursuing an endeavor and then no one's with you. As in, Hormones talks about it all the time. And then maybe it exists, right? But I mean, I never felt it because I've always had someone to do it with. I had my brother and then I had Meg.
It would be lonely if you were a solo founder.
Correct. But as in, you can go find, there's so many other people that are going after it. It's just about where do you want to put your effort in? Either do you want to just sit and wallow about how your friends are being mean to you, or do you go and find other people that want to support what you're doing?
But I think that gap between those two, friends that are not supporting you and the friends that will, that's the chapter.
That's the chapter.
But what I'm saying is it doesn't need to exist because we live in the 21st century, and there's that many people out there that want to get around and support each other that you can go and find more people if you'd like to. I think people sit in that place for longer than they need. But the point that I want to make is because I think with giving advice, whatever I say, it's always considered, because I have a very strong belief around advice in that if you haven't been through it before, just don't talk about it. You just you can make a comment on it if you like, but if you're going to listen and take action off what someone says to you, that person should have been through it. And if they haven't been through it, well, then what would they know about it actually? Because they haven't felt the moving part, the pieces. They haven't had the emotion. They haven't had the actual mental experience of going through that.
You're going to put a lot of people on the Gold Coast out of business, bro.
Yeah, but this is, and then this is actually a point that I really want to hit hard. If you're using, and because I've done this. This is what happened I've been through this in a season in a business of mine when I was a lot younger. If you're using the motivation of wanting to be successful so you can show other people you're successful, and if you use the motivation of wanting to beat someone in order to make you want to keep working hard, it really does work to build momentum in a business and to build financial success. It never builds long-lasting success, ever. Because what happens is that it's just this continuous state of I have to find someone that I don't like or someone to prove wrong or things like this. And Trev Hendy again, you can only operate out of two places in life. It's either love or fear. Now that's not love, that is fear. So that means you're actually riding on fear all the time. And so that's why you see a lot of people go and put all their efforts and all their eggs into one basket, which we're big believers in. Go all in on anything you're doing, not get the final end pinpoint result, what they want, and completely fall apart. It's because they needed that to give them validation over everything they've done to make it worthwhile. Whether when you do something out of love and not out of fear, the pinpoint result can obviously always makes the experience better, but it doesn't derail everything you did was because you're actually doing it for real intentions in the first place. And so you see people like Michael Jordan, because I love seeing those sort of people and understanding how they actually do that, like why they get there and how they keep going. As in, man, that guy's not content at all.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is that better or worse than the guy that's the champion that's not content, or the person that might not be winning that's getting third, but he just loves everything about the experience, the third place, all of it?
Well, I think you can.
The only way to, sorry, I'm going to cut you over here.
Yeah.
The only way to answer that is by you defining what success is to yourself.
It's your own internal.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's a great saying that if you can't define what success means to you, someone else will define it for you. And you're going to follow what someone else is doing continuously to think, well, that's my path of success. And that's what you see every day of the week with people thinking, okay, for me to be happy in life, I have to have a big social media following. Or for me to be happy in life, I have to have a business that does $10 million in the second year of operating, because they're constantly looking towards other people. But Meg and I, again, this is something we speak about on a regular basis, just between each other. Every answer you ever need is actually within.
Yeah.
And I've learned that the hard way, big time. And I was one that I thought, man, I don't need external validation. And you don't even realize how much you actually need it, because every human being needs some form of external validation. But if you want to be content, you have to look within. And I know that sounds a bit hippie and a bit woo-woo, but as in, if you don't actually know who you are as a person, and you don't quieten down the noise of the externals and actually listen to the whisper of the voice that comes within, you'll never be content. You'll always be chasing the next thing, and nothing is ever good enough. And so Meg's got a great quote that she says, distraction is loud, the calling is quiet. And the calling always is quiet. And because it doesn't need to make sense to anyone else, it just needs to make sense to you. And if you look at all the people in the world that you're inspired by, that you actually, not knowing them, but you feel like they've got contentment, or they feel like that they are content with what they've done in their life, it didn't make logical sense to do what they did. And if they put a business plan out and said, hey, I'm going to do this, Logic would have said that's a dumb idea. But if you define your next steps based off what's logical and what's reasonable, the logic and reason is based off history. That means that, just because someone else hasn't done it or doesn't get done commonly, then you can't do it. But you look at everyone that you're inspired by in your life, everything they did was to defy logic. But just because they, instead of trying to think about the external, they thought, I feel this enough within, I'm going to go and do it.
Yeah.
And that's why Meg and I are doing Mega and Train to Go, and everything we're doing is because we genuinely feel this is what I want to be doing. This is actually where I want to be going with my life. And Hormozy's got a cracking quote on this. It's not the work that you do that's the most important thing. The work's important, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is what the work does to you. And if more people understood that, they'd stop and think, well, this work isn't making me a better person. Maybe the path that I'm on isn't really the one I should be on.
I guess that's looking back at yourself, the why behind exactly what the thing is that you're doing. And then working from that, not from like the achieving that thing, but you're like, why do I want to do this? Because how often I'd say with you guys or any athletes, you don't become an athlete because you're like, I'll make money one day, I'll have sponsors, I'll be seen. It's like, this is the funnest thing I can do right now, and I would do this for free, and I will do this for free because I enjoy it. And it's like that enjoyment is the kind of the thing that can get lost in a way, because it's like you started because you enjoyed it, and then when it gets to that point when you're saying where it's like, I'm just doing this for an external validation or external money or whatever it may be, and then it's like, do I actually like this? Do I want to keep doing this? And I think I heard a thing with you, Meg, when you wanted to become a vet, and that's the, like, you probably had a why, caring for animals, wanting to help, like that's the why behind it. And then you kind of go through it and realize, okay, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And it's being able to know yourself well enough to go, this isn't for me, and pivot.
Yeah.
Do you think like there's an importance in that, like knowing your why, but then also knowing your why can change and that's okay?
Yeah. I mean, there's knowing your why, I guess, and then making your why your reality and your job, I guess. And not being, I guess, when you go and study, for example, with the vet situation, I went and worked in a vet for a year rather than going and studying for 5 years. I chose to do that because it's much easier to turn around once you've only just started down a road rather than go 5 years down the road and then have to turn around and go, actually, I don't want to be a vet, and then go back down another path. So,
but for people listening to that, as in that point needs to be highlighted.
Yeah.
And I've given that advice to so many people, and people don't do that. Go and experience it. If you think you want to be a barrister, great. Go and call 5 barristers and go and ask to shadow them for a day.
Do a little experiment.
Do a little experiment. Go and actually experience that thing. People don't do that. People go to university for 5 years and then think, well, and have you heard of sunk cost bias? Sunk cost bias, it's a financial term, and it says that people place a higher value on things that they've already spent time, effort, and money on than what they're actually worth.
Yeah.
So say, for example, you and I say, hey, let's go to the movies this Sunday night together. And you don't want to go. You're more inclined to go because you've already bought the tickets. Whereas the value of it is that you could be going doing something else that either financially or emotionally is going to get you a much bigger return than going to that movie. Yeah. But you go and do it because you've already actually bought it. You place a bigger value on what there actually should be. And so people go through and they say, oh, I've done university for 5 years and I have to go and do this. But how can you avoid doing that? And the answer is very simple, is in go and actually experience it for what it is. And I think that's so amazing. I give massive credit for Meg to do this because she saved herself 4 years. And then also the societal pressures of, oh, you've studied this for 5 years. And Meg's super smart. She's like, she would have topped her class. It's like, well, I got the top of my class. I've done it for 5 years. Now I have to do this. It comes down to logic. It doesn't make logical sense to then stop that and go to finger painting. Yeah. But finger painting could be the thing that makes you the biggest figure painter in the world, and you're absolutely stoked.
Well, I was going to say more than anything, it's peace of mind. As in, if it took me 5 years to figure it out, it is what it is. But the having to live doing something that I don't love or questioning, oh, should I have tried? That sucks. As in, I would much rather go and try 10 different jobs and then live my life without any regret than have to think, oh man, what if I did go and try vet for a year? You know, as in for me, peace of mind is so important. And I was actually thinking back on what you were talking about with Michael Jordan, and when I look at the difference, obviously, but for my opinion, between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, the difference looks like it's a want rather than a need. So rather than needing to win, it's I want to win, don't get me wrong. But if I don't win, it doesn't mean that I'm not, I think any less of myself is what I would say. So with I think also when you're a top level athlete, you also recognize that it's not like you don't use your feelings, you just use your logic, that you can't race. It's very unlikely you're going to race well every single time. Some days going to be your day, other days it's not going to be your day. And so if you base all of your confidence on winning and it's not a good day for you, that's not going to be a very good time for you. And so you have to learn the hard way that, yeah, if you don't win, it doesn't mean you're not good. Just either you need to go and put in more work or change your strategy, or you just had a bad day. As in Will and I coming second at Worlds, I don't think that has not changed my perspective on us thinking that we're the best. It's made me think, oh, it's so annoying that we didn't race our best, and not taking anything away from the people that came first. They raced the best on the day.
100%.
Do I think we could have smashed that time?
Second, yeah.
100%.
But then equally, they could be sitting there and thinking we could have had a better race.
Yeah.
It's just all hypotheticals. They won. That we came second.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying.
No, of course,
I'm saying
of
it
course.
hasn't changed our self-belief at all. As in, we don't feel sad about, we don't think, oh, man, we're not good enough. We think, man, I just wish I had the race that we
it
wanted
didn't knock
to.
our confidence.
That's the
in the
important part that
slightest.
you think like that, because you said earlier on when you were competing, that's all you thought.
It's like you need to win to feel good. No, actually, you need to know who you are and what you value and understand life. Like that you can't win. I hate using the word can't, but it's unlikely that you'll win all the time. And also recognize how much you learn from the times that it goes wrong. As in it's like when you go
don't reflect when you're winning, man.
If you go through a
when
breakup,
everything's going well, you're not sitting there thinking, oh, why did this go well? It's just going well, and you think, I'm just going to keep going.
Or if you go through a breakup, how hard do you come back from that? As in, the comeback from the breakup's the best. Or if you lose or you come second, well, you're going to smash your next race. I mean, if you've got the right attitude, of course. So yeah, it's hard in the moment, but using those emotions and accepting that they're there means you care, and then just applying them in a positive way rather than like, oh, Meg, you need to bleed every training session or you're not enough. That's not a very productive way to think. And also, both Kobe Bryant and Jordan freaking lived for the game. They love basketball.
They love the game.
So their why is probably more about basketball itself. And whilst they had different strategies to get the good out of themselves, I would agree. I don't necessarily think Jordan looks like he's at peace, but who knows?
Yeah.
I think there's just different things to consider.
It's pretty wild when he does those acceptance speeches and he's pulling back things that happen from.
That's what I mean. But like you see
Let
great
go.
athletes are like that though. They're just like, they're so focused on winning that like, and I know when I've been in that place where I wouldn't win and I'd be like crying, man, and like so much anger and emotion, but that would then fuel, okay, what do I do better? How do I do better? And like that was the motivation, the fuel, because it's like directly after an event is probably when you feel the most motivated, but it's when it means the least amount. You think about when you've just got second at an event, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to train better, I'm going to do all this stuff better, and you're so like built up on that, and like that needs to maintain for the next 6 months or however long the next competition is. But it's like in that emotion, when you're content with just say a second or a third, it's going to diminish, I guess, the return you're going to get over that next 6 months for training for the next event. If you're like, well, second's not that bad, third's not that bad.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. As in, we're not content with coming second.
No, I'm not saying that either.
wrong.
But
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying with like to be the best in the world at
But
something.
what's your fire? Is your
No,
fire
that's
to
what I was
beat the
about to say.
person?
You need to have something greater than like the fear of losing. Like you need to have something above, as in something great. Something, it needs to mean more to you than the win. As in your sport. For me, it's like I want to win more than just so that I can say I won.
Yeah, but also in some things as well, I think like you said with the vet, like I did with my sport, I just was like, this isn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like you have that realization. That's why I said like it's so important to realize your why, and once your why changes,
Yes.
pivot.
Yes, because if you didn't win, it didn't feel like enough because you weren't in love with the sport anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think too many people do things they're good at when they hate them. It's like just because you're good at something, like really good at something, doesn't mean you need to do it.
Yeah.
And like even building like this place here, I've never even been in a creative space before. Like from the outside looking in, people be like, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
But it's
sick.
But then it's like, I believe, and even this, like, I don't, like, this isn't going to be my long-term thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be something else. I'm going to
Yeah.
do something. Like, I know, and I talked to my dad about this because he's very similar. It's like, we don't like long-term routine. Like, if someone said, okay, I can play out your next year, you're going to do this, 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 and this, I would hate it. I would go crazy. And if you said, okay, there are going to be new things coming up, new people are going to come into your life, you're going to go to new place, like all that, like that, the unknown of that is quite exciting to me. I don't know if you guys are similar with that when you don't know the outcome of something, because I guess that is competing. It's like you don't know the outcome. You know that you're going to put everything into it, but you don't know how it's going to be. So as soon as you know, like imagine it's like watching
I think you're like that and I'm not like that.
No, I'm smiling because I want to challenge you on this.
Yeah,
this
I
is
know
this is
you
a
do.
point that I like to hit with people. The progression and the change and the unknown can come from the one thing. And that's where I think a lot of people get caught up, and I see people do it all the time, is that they are invested in 5 companies. And it's not like they're a billionaire and they've diversified. It's they're making okay money, but because they didn't have the discipline or they didn't pick the right thing from the start, that everything else was just noise and that's what they wanted to focus on, they find themselves spread so thin. And so when you look at people who've really achieved amazing things in life, they went all in on that one thing. And the progression of that one thing, that's what brings the change. And that's for me, that's when in a business that I ran for almost 9 years, that's where the stoke left, was because the business got to the point where it hit a ceiling in terms of growth before we had to go and do more things and bolster more things onto it. The growth was the exciting part. And then once that growth capped because it was a flawed business model in terms of the potential that I had and wanted to go and do, that's when it was like, well, I now have to come to work, as opposed to now I want to come to work, because things weren't changing. It was, I have to come to work and bring this level now to maintain, whereas the same level of effort used to actually bring growth. And so that's why business models, I love talking about business models. It's so important to look at like, what is the potential of that business and what are the cogs that make that thing grow? And if it's got a limiter, like saying as in it can only grow in proportion to the amount of staff you have, that's a really tough model to stay in long term if you're a progressive person, is because you're going to get to the point where it's just going to hit this point and then it's just going to be maintaining. Whereas if you can pick something that you're wildly passionate about, that fixes most things, that is also combined with exponential growth, then you're never going to want to shift and want to change and do things, because the thing you've picked is always changing and evolving and developing. I think it's just like spend the time to find the thing that you think's really lighting you up.
Well, that's what I did. Obviously, I competed in it. I know that fire. Like, I know that like competitiveness and that drive and like that. I will do anything. And you know when you become almost attracted to suffering because you know what's directly after it?
Yeah.
And you get so...
Wonder.
You get so like in that point because you know, like you know, and like
Yeah.
you just want to see what's there. Like you want to see what's on that
Love it.
other
Yes.
side. And I think that comes back to that fear thing you said before. Like I remember when you said the spiders, like I had this phobia with snakes. So I was like, all right, we're going to start holding snakes.
So good.
Just because I'm like, I don't like, because fear controls so many people and it just determines where you live, who you're around, what decisions you make. And as soon as, like you said, the reps upon reps of like, I'm scared of this, let's do it. Okay, well, if I did that, I can do this. And like you said, we're speaking in front of people, we're doing new challenges and stuff like that. It all comes from, I guess, what would you say? It's like the pushing yourself, suffering is like, there's a fear in that. There's a fear in like, it's going to suck, it's going to hurt. And then like you said, in your relationship, in your training, in fucking picking up spiders and snakes, it's like on the other side of that is probably everything you'd ever want. And that feeling you create from that. So it is like leaning into it and pushing that.
Yeah.
But I guess with my sport, it's just like, I didn't have that same want to do that. I didn't feel like I didn't want to push myself anymore, but like that particular sport, I just felt like the love had fallen out of it. And I just kind of was like, okay, well, I know how much it took to be there. And I don't want to give that anymore. And I didn't want to just go around the same circle of going the same places. And you know what like, for example, there was a race in Austria that I'd go to. I knew where I'd land. I knew the hotel I'd go to. I knew it just like, I could see my whole week played out. And then I was living it and I was like, I've been here, like, because you've done 10 years in a row, you do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And yes, there is variations and stuff like that. But for me, it just felt like it was kind of Groundhog Day to a way.
Like it's the progression is lacking.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is, and if you actually use that and then actually had a business to move forward off the back of that, you could have stayed in the sport forever.
How do you mean in terms of a business off the back of that? Like,
Well, I mean, okay, so look at Travis Pastrana, right? So he's the man. He changed extreme sports for so many disciplines, right? And then because he built Nitro Circus and then he's always been that space of entertainment going forward, he's been one person that's been able to stay in that industry for a very long time and continue to grow and progress.
Yeah.
It's because what was once just something that was just him physically on a bike doing things, he then found a way, which is rare to do, but as in he loved the act of it so much that he wasn't relying upon just the activity of itself to make him be involved in that space. And then he just kept progressing and kept evolving. And then he's actually never left the extreme sports arena. Whereas it's if people could actually be around people that could show them what's possible and show them how to do things. And maybe you could have been in that space where your obsession was just making a better bike.
Yeah.
And then you could have this amazing, it doesn't have to be the biggest either, but just a business that gets involved in there. So
and with that, yeah, it's somewhat attached to it. But I think in my head, Tim, I went literally polar the opposite way and completely removed myself from it completely. Like I didn't ride a bike. Obviously there was an injury and stuff, but I didn't ride a bike for
that's
a year.
a freaking crazy injury, dude.
And went into like a creative space, which I literally have no background whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think like brought a camera like 2 years ago. So it's like, but then I just want to see what that's about.
Yes.
So there's like that. I know you said like you can diversify to a point where you just spread thin and you're not good at anything.
Yes.
But it's also like, I think for anyone listening, like if you want to see how something feels, like go and feel it.
Yeah.
And go see if that's it. And it may not be. Like there's a part of me that misses the whole mountain biking circuit and that world. Like there's definitely like I did it for 17 years. Like there's
no one ever cuts anything clean and just goes to the next thing.
Exactly.
It's like you're not a robot.
It is there, but like I like as well to like, okay, I needed a break from that.
Yes.
I'll come back when I'm kind of feel ready. And I guess some people just stay in something, and you see it mainly in relationships. They'll stay in something when they're not happy and they don't see it for what it used to be. But it's just like, I don't want to like try and fix this or do anything about it. They just stay in and bitch and complain. And
100%.
I'm someone that's like, if I feel like there needs to be change, I'll make change. And I think that's like what people get scared of is that change, because it's like
the unknown.
The unknown.
Brain doesn't know what's going on. Brain wants to keep you comfortable and
100%. But just kind of, again, it's defining. Like I think definitions are so underrated. You need to be able to define things and words and have the value in those in your life to know that what you want to do moving forward. Simon Sinek talks about this. He's a freaking gun author, and he has the book Find Your Why and Start With Why. He's had a profound effect on the decisions that I've made in my life and pursuing things that where I really feel like I'm putting my gifts to full use as opposed to doing something I'm good at. When you said that before, I was like, dude, that was me, 100%. And so I resonate with that. And he was saying, for example, look at what happened with the railway companies in America. At one point, they were the biggest industry, or one of those wealthiest companies in America, or the guys that were running the railways. And then planes came out. And so he said the problem with them was that they defined themselves as, we are a train and railway company. He says if they defined themselves as a transport business, they would have gone and adapted and got into planes. And they'd still be maybe one of the biggest businesses getting around. But if you just define yourself as the thing as opposed to the vehicle, then you can get so caught up in terms of what you're doing. And so, I mean, a simple example is if we just say we are training programs, Train to Go. We just do training programs so people train for HYROX, running, gym, all those sorts of things. You put yourself into a box. But the thing is that we're not a training program business. That's not what we do. What we do is we show people they're capable of more. And if that's our why, we want to show people they're capable of more because we want to prove to ourselves we're capable of more. It's just a simple statement, which we spent years obviously trying to figure out what that actually was, but that's what hits us so hard. And so when you want to show people you're capable of more, well, then what do you actually do? What's the spoke? Anything is the answer. And so then you can have a look at it like, well, then this is one of the spokes that we want to go down to help people realize they're capable of more. And that's why for us, we used to have the Run Club's Mega Run. We never thought we'd ever finish. We thought like, dude, we're mega running till we're 90. Like this thing's happening forever. But then the moment that we realized you can't do everything, which you already knew, And it was like, we want to show people they're capable of more. It wasn't like that stopped and the whole mission stopped. It was, okay, well, we found a way that is going to allow us to progress and see future progression within ourselves. That's going to allow us to move forward in relationship and in our lives, that is still championing the cause of you are capable of more. So if you really know your why and the reasons why you're there, and it's such a great point you meant about winning, is if your definition is to be there is to win, you're going to get so caught up in the process of winning 100%. You're going to miss so many things. You're going to miss the point and the reason why you're there in the first place. But if you actually have a deeper cause, and Meg says this, and it's such a great statement, is there's a lot of people in the world can do inspirational things. There's very few people in the world that are inspirational people. And that's the missing link. You get all these people that can do crazy things physically, but if you met them, you think, I wish I didn't meet this person. But then you get those few people that are actually inspirational people that you want to learn from them and understand how they did it, is one reason and one reason only. They have a very clear reason why they do it, and it's an internal reason.
And, well, I think it's greater than themselves normally.
Always greater than
themselves.
themselves.
For themselves or the glory of themselves. And it's not always for God, obviously, either, but it'll be for to set an example to inspire other people or something, because then it's just always something that has more meaning than just for themselves.
Yeah, I guess that's when it comes back to when you have like a partner, something you want to do it for them, but then like the greater of that would just be like, I want to do this for anyone and everyone that would feel a little bit inspired by it. When you said that, like, you want to make people capable of more, when you're competing or going on these runs and you get that little voice in the back of your head that tells you to stop or tells you this is too hard, what is that self-talk, and what is that thing that you'd obviously have to like go through to be like, there's more there, like take another step? What's that kind of conversation like with yourself in that moment of like pushing yourself to the past the limit?
Do you want me to answer?
You got this one. This is your jam.
I think it's different all the time. I don't think it's the same every time. And for me, I always think your brain, I always go through that. Your brain is trying to keep you safe and comfortable. It doesn't mean that you have to actually stop. And how much does it mean to you to prove to yourself that you don't have to listen to it? And because I've done the reps in terms of pushing past it, every time I get that voice, I just don't value it as much as what I used to. I think is probably the best way to put it, is in, I go, oh yeah, it's there. Doesn't mean I'm going to listen to it. And you think about the things that mean a lot to you, as in, the biggest thing is that if I say I'm going to do something, I want to go and do it, because that's where your confidence comes from. It comes from knowing that you're going to do what you said you're going to do, and you can do it. And it doesn't mean that I wouldn't pull out of races and not get completely derailed by it. I wouldn't. If I genuinely had something wrong, I would pull out of a race, and I'm fine with it, because I know exactly why I pulled it out. And if people want to judge you for that, that's probably more a reflection of how they would feel if they pulled out rather than yourself. But in terms of getting through and keep on going, for example, if you're in an ultra marathon, I remember Goggins saying this, in the moments that you want to keep pushing, you can grab anything. Just grab whatever means something to keep you going in that moment. And it'll be the weirdest things, but often when you reflect on the things that kept you going afterwards, that will show you where your heart is. So for example, if your first ultra marathon, you run 100 Ks, and the whole time you're thinking, man, I told all these people I'd run the 100 Ks and I want to put it on my Instagram, and then you do the 100 Ks, that can get you a fair way. And you might do the 100 Ks and finish, post on your Instagram, and then if you reflected on that, you'd go, wow, my heart is really in, people wanting validation from other people. And then you could reflect on that, and you need to do some self-development to figure out what really means something to you and not other people. Because what happens if you put up that post and it doesn't get a lot of likes, and then you go, oh man, people don't really care if I'm running 100 Ks. That's not going to make you feel very good if that's where your heart is. So I think in all different things will come up depending on where you're at in your life, which is why I love running, because it forces you to get so real with yourself. As in, you have to, in order to keep pushing past pain, you have to dig deep, and you have to listen to the things that your heart is telling you, or else you won't be able to keep going. And I really do think that those moments of pain, like when you get squeezed, it shows you what's really inside. So whilst I can think of a lot of different things that will keep me going in an ultra marathon, it really shows me where I'm at in terms of my heart when I do hard things, because of where my mind goes to in those moments. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it feels like the raw version of you.
Yeah. Yeah. So if it is going to social media posts and what would Will think of me or something like that, maybe it means, oh, well, I'm clearly thinking about what Will thinks of me more than I think of myself.
Yeah.
But most of my head talk is, Meg, prove it to yourself. Come on, let's go. What does it mean to you?
Where do you reckon the moments you've felt the happiest you've ever felt?
That's a great question.
Great question.
Like, is it linked to those, or is it linked to something else?
That's a great question.
I mean, the most euphoric I've ever felt, which I think is different to fulfilled, the most euphoric I've ever felt was actually when I won Worlds for sports aerobics the first time, because it was so unexpected and I just loved the sport. I wasn't doing it to win. I didn't think I was going to win, and I just won, and it was so unexpected. And I think the reason why that felt so good was because I literally had zero expectations and I had so much love for the sport. And so clearly that if you have lower expectations and you get an amazing result and you're doing it for the right reasons, then it feels freaking ridiculous. As in, I don't know, that win just felt so euphoric. But in terms of fulfillment, I'm thinking of things. I mean, memory is not my strong point, so I'm going to pass it to Will while I think of mine. What's yours?
You got it. Come on. What do you got?
No, I just passed it to you.
Handball it over.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I just might take a little while.
Let's put on some
Most
background
fulfilled.
music.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
When you've
I want to hear it.
a moment you felt the happiest you've ever felt, and do you remember what you were doing or where you were?
Yeah, 100%. There's been a few moments that it just popped to mind. I always like to just go to the first ones that come up. I remember the first time I landed a double backflip on skis.
Sick.
But it was more so the environment that I was in. And it's all the parts that made it. As in, it wasn't just landing a double backflip. It was the fact that I was there with the person, like my brother, my best mate, person I love the most in the world. And we're doing the thing that brought us the most joy in the world, which was skiing. And we were out just so rogue, drove 2 hours out with a van to find this place to go and hit this jump, built it ourselves, out there together. It was just him and I, no one watching. And it was just a moment between the two of us of, because we've been working on it for a while and we did it. And so that was a huge moment of just being like, dude, this is sick. Like, we can actually do this stuff. And I mean, there just comes my personality type of progression is going to be one of those things. Because I think of other times of like getting a massive wave and get the best barrel of my life, those things come up. And then the other time was, I remember I was in Europe traveling with my brother and we were sitting on the back of this boat we'd rented. And it was just like, no one knew we were there because we kept everything so undercover when we were just running our businesses, not because of anything to hide. We just never on socials, didn't feel the need to share it with anyone. And it was just sitting there in the moment and just feeling entirely free. It just, everything we've done at that point in time, I didn't believe in God at the time. So I was thinking, I did this. I created this with my brother. We got to be here and we're just sitting on this boat, having a party with these random people, just having a dope time. And there just wasn't a care in the world. I was like, wow, there was these little just moments of everything that I did that I worked so hard to do allowed me to be in this space where I just had zero worries. And the number one thing I can look back on all the stories is that I was 100% present in the moment. That's where it comes from. As in, I can tell you the ski gear I was wearing. I can tell you what leg I pushed off when I came down. I can tell you what was going through my head. I can tell you what I did when I landed. I can tell you what I was wearing on the back of the boat. All these things. And I think it's actually amazing because a memory isn't a moment in time. It's an emotion in time. That's what actually creates a memory. So if I said to you, what'd you eat for dinner 2 Thursdays ago? No idea. But the thing is, if I said, look back on your life in this question like this, you're actually asking me to go back at a time where my memory had a snapshot of an emotion. And that's what you remember.
I got some.
Yeah, I mean, just it. I think the skiing and the back of the boat, but the similarities was that I'd worked hard and I'd achieved something. I was there with the people that I cared about the most, and I was totally present in that moment. And then the underlying one for me, I know what makes me tick, is that I just felt unique. In scenarios where I felt like I've done those things, and then I feel unique, is that for me is. That's the goal. It's a good feel. Well, it's not a goal. It's just
not
like
a goal, but like it's like if you're gonna feel something, that's
You're gonna
that's
tap me in before I forget mine.
Okay, Meg's memory not the strongest point.
Yeah, the two that I thought, and I was thinking about the reasons why too, were minimal expectation, I think. So one was when we competed our first HYROX in Melbourne, and we won and we qualified for Worlds, and we were not trained for it. We had no idea what we were doing. And then Worlds was our second ever race, and it was just so fun because we really just had no expectation, to the point where when we won, they said, "You guys have won." And we went, "Yeah, we know we won our heat, but we can't have won the competition." And they went, "No, you've won." And we were just like, whoa, that's amazing that we got to be as a couple over there, the first gold medal ever in HYROX for Australia. It was so sick sharing that moment with your husband and just thinking, man, like we get to do this with our special other person. It's just the most crazy thing. And then the second one was when we first released Mega. We first launched Mega, and I have never had a business before, so we had Shopify up, and you can hear the little cash thing when it goes. Ding, it's like ching, 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 and then we printed off all these orders, and they were just coming out like crazy. And I just thought, this doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
Because there was no expectation. And I was thinking, even with your double back, the experience would be different if you were perhaps in a competition saying you must stick the double back to get 200 points or whatever it is.
Well, that comes back to as well, like back to the athlete, the Michael Jordan thing is like, as soon as you start competing and doing well, there's an expectation on you doing well. So that's where like a lot of that happiness gets drawn out of it, and that enjoyment. And that's why I guess when I was talking to you, like I've done really well at this. So now anything less than that is a disappointment.
Exactly.
So then you start to be like, well, I'll be content with less than that, but then you're not pushing as hard because you don't, you know, it's all like catch-22 with that. Because like you said, when you do something and you're like, oh, fuck, what? Like, I did it. And, it's that, and I think it's just that beginning as well. Like,
I think it's what Will said, it's living in the present, because I was actually watching this video of the guy talking about how our worries and our anxiousness and our frustrations and our disappointment comes from context of it being thinking too much in the future, or worry is worrying about the future, or disappointment comes from your perspective from the past. So if you were actually looking at everything as in the present moment, then you would enjoy it a lot more, as in being purely in the moment, not worrying about the future or
the outcome of what it's going to be.
Or giving context by the past, which is hard because our brains are wired literally to take everything that we've learned in the time of our life and apply it to our current situation. So figuring out how to let that go and just really lock in on what's going on around you, which I think if you wanted to get yourself into that perspective, if you were skiing or something, you would be going, oh my gosh, look at the trees, look at the landscape, look at my friends, look at the people I'm with, and that can get you much more into a present scenario than worry, if that makes sense. Because if I'm sitting here in this room and I'm going, oh my gosh, what if I stuff up what I'm saying and then people think badly of me and then I don't get enough likes or whatever it is. I mean, so dumb. That's not how my brain thinks. So sorry, it's not dumb. I know some people struggle like that, but not me at the moment. I don't want to offend anyone too much.
Watch out for the cancel culture, man.
That was a perfect play on words to you saying that. And
I know, but I don't want to upset anyone. That's just my personal experience.
We'll just cut that clip up when she said dumb and then send it out then. Yeah.
Okay, I'll call you.
Snippet.
But if I'm focusing on the fact that I'm enjoying your company, I'm here with my husband, and look at this incredible room that we're in, blah, blah, blah. I'm not worrying about the other things.
Yeah. When you were describing that, it took me back to a place when I was competing, and I was in Switzerland. And I remember...
Switzerland's so beautiful.
Oh, it was like snow-capped mountains all around.
I can see it in your face. You know when you're telling the story, your face has changed.
I know the exact place, but I heard this thing, and it was like certain like things that you're passionate about should mean everything and nothing at the same time. And the whole idea is like what you're saying, that you want to put everything into it, but if it doesn't come out like you expect it, it doesn't change anything. And I think when you say like speaking in front of people, it should mean everything and nothing at the same time. You want to put everything into it.
I've never heard that before.
If it doesn't come out the way you perceive it being, like you said, you go home and you go to bed and like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember being at the top of this run in Switzerland and consciously thinking that. And I remember going there and I was like, I've already won. Like I remember like
goosebumps everywhere.
Like knowing that you've won before you've started to compete is like that's like a cheat code to life, I think. And I remember lining up, looking around, being like, I'm in Switzerland. I'm competing at this sport at the highest level. I think I was qualified in the top 10. I was like on TV, like people are watching me back home, like childhood dream in this. And I knew at that moment that I had won already. And then, but for that, and then I would always do well after.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
always
so
do
Because
well.
true.
it's in the present, and that's win on all levels.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
where you're on all levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like, once you channel that, you go, oh, like, because then, you, like you said, you see the people that if I don't get this, then my world's crumbling down. But you go, no, like win at all levels. Like I always thought that like, it's like something about winning the race before you compete or something. I was like, how to work that into like a quote or something to like make sure you've won the race before you've started, kind of thing. Because I think people, again, it comes back to being present and looking at all the things that are wrong, or the issues, or the what if, or the fall, or the failure, and you go like you've created all this negative emotion and way of thinking that it's not real. It's not real at all.
I think time can be a pressure that is easy to put on yourself, and I often do, and that's one of the things that makes me feel anxious or that I'm not in the moment, is when I put the time pressure on myself. But it's something that we have created. So for example, I could say, this is going to be my last year of HYROX, and then that's it. All of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to finish on coming second. I want to win, whatever it is. So, but that time pressure is something I created. It's not actually real.
Yeah.
As in, I don't have to do HYROX for only 1 more year. I could do it for 10 more years if I really wanted to. But it's the time pressure that then makes you feel like there's pressure. But
have you put a time on it?
On HYROX?
Yeah.
Not really, no. As in,
We just want to have kids.
yeah,
That's
the
the
thing
thing.
that's in the back of my head, is I do want to have kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just, faith is something that is transformative. Whether you believe in God or you believe it, you've got to. It's silly if you say that you don't believe in something greater. Like, you've got to believe in something greater, surely, because we can't all be here by accident. But when you do believe in something greater, you just have this kind of peace that everything is going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And we often, I see Will doing this all the time, but like surrender, like relinquish control, to think that everything happens through your own control is not, it can be a really productive way to live your life from, but it can also be so restrictive, as in we believe that everything happens the way it's supposed to, including the bad times, because if you reflect and look at all the bad things that happen, or the bad things that happen in your life, ultimately they've probably produced some of the best things that happen in your life. So yeah, we're at peace with the fact that we feel like we'll know what to do when we're going to do it. And so if I get to a place where I'm feeling I really want to have kids now, well, we'll probably have kids. Or if I feel like I really don't want to do HYROX, well, we won't do HYROX. As in, there's a difference between on a daily basis feeling like, oh, I don't feel like training for HYROX today. That happens. You can have days when you don't feel like training. That doesn't mean you don't love the sport. It means you're human. So there is a difference between those two. Why are you smiling?
Oh, I mean, it's such a metaphor for everyone and everything they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down a quote, and it's like, our disappointments may just be opportunity in disguise.
So true.
It's so true.
So everything, like, you think back to all the things that in the moment, this is the worst thing that could have happened to me, and then you fast forward. I always do that. I always look back at situations or places I'm in or people I'm around, and you trace it back, and you're like, I only met you because like I broke my ankle and I had to go to hospital, and then this friend gave me their
So true, sliding
and
doors.
yeah, and you take it all back, and most of my like most proud moments have stemmed from horrible moments.
Yeah.
And once you start looking back and you go, okay, so if all these good things stem from something bad, when something bad happens, that's when you have that faith come in and you go, oh, like what's going to come from this then? And I think just that, switching that thought of when bad stuff happens, instead of going, oh shit, bad stuff's happening, you go, oh my God, something good's going to come from this.
Yeah.
And that automatically speeds up when something good will happen, because
So
you already
true.
switch how you think about that negative thing. Like, I think once I started realizing more that, like, I used to be like you and want to be liked and want to always be happy, and you're constantly chasing this idea that is the goal, or that is the like where you need to be, and it's unrealistic and like it's not sustainable. Like, you're not always happy, you're not always wealthy.
It's not real.
It's not real, yeah. And then when you start to go, okay, I just want to enjoy the entire experience, from happy to sad, from broke to rich to all of that.
A raw emotion.
All of it, yeah. Whatever I feel in that's like, I want to understand the negative and the positive, and know that I'm going to go through both of it and be okay with that. And once you start just like trying to enjoy the experience, whether you're upset, crying, or you're overwhelmed with joy. It's like, once you can understand that, like, that's where life is, and it's not being so like up and down through it, but just like being like, okay, this is life. You're gonna have to go through
kind
it.
of more curious about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I always think whenever something goes wrong, easier said than done, but we say it's adding to the story.
Yeah,
as
make
in
it better.
James Carew, when he becomes world champion, does a victory lap, he's the best.
Have you heard of James Carew?
No.
He's the best kiteboarder in the world.
Yeah.
And
Best
he's the best kiteboarder.
Oh, okay.
In the world. He's a 4-time world champ.
And so wins worlds by a mile, goes and does a victory lap and does a really big jump, and then comes down and hits the water so hard, smashes his leg.
Hit a sandbank and just blew himself out completely.
So completely out. What did he do? Broke his femur
leg,
or something.
ripped all of his ligaments throughout his knee, everything. They said you're not going to get back in the water within at least 12 months to even get back in the water.
Just obliterates it, and then just decides that's going to make his story that much greater, and goes and rehabs it. And
he's getting wheeled out from that event, and he's on camera saying, I'll be back for this comp next year and I'm going to win it. Watch this recovery. That's what he said, getting wheeled out with his broken leg and his munted knee.
And he does. He
and
goes
he
back
went and did
win.
it. His first competition back in the water was that comp next year, and he won it.
But the reason why I say it is because, he's 5-time world champion. That's amazing. But he's 5-time world champion after that injury, which is even more inspiring. As in, I feel like the setbacks make the wins that much greater and that much more impressive. As in, if it was just smooth sailing, that doesn't inspire anyone. Doesn't inspire yourself either. As in, any of the wins that you just got handed to you, they don't feel anywhere near as good as the ones that you had to suffer your way through.
You don't see the movie about the trust fund kid that got coaches and stuff and got everything he ever wanted, and then
that's so true. I was like, have I seen that movie? But
no, you know what I mean. But like, you see Rocky, you see the guy
yeah.
on the street, you see the guy that overcome hardship, and it's normally those people that understand how to deal with hardship because they've been training and doing that since they were like a kid.
Yeah,
it's like most of the most successful people, the most inspiring people, have gone through the worst shit.
Yeah, depth of experience rather than success itself.
Yeah, yeah. And when you said before about like I always would try and work with kids that would lose early. Like, I love when you see an athlete that loses early, because I'm like, you know what it's like to build resilience through what you're doing.
I feel like that's me.
Yes.
Well, I had this.
No, actually, I don't. I'm gonna get real on Meg here.
Oh.
The thing that Meg struggled with a lot when I first met Meg, and this came from her childhood, she wouldn't do anything if she wasn't going to win. So that was a big thing that Meg's had to learn. It's actually built so much of her real confidence now in terms of everything she's doing, is being okay having a crack at something and not winning. And so that is something that Meg really had to overcome. And I mean, it's not an unknown bit of life information that most of your life as an adult is formed from what happens when you're a kid. And so it's interesting to see that Meg, while she's been a high performer, that's definitely been one of the biggest things she had to work on. It's actually what's made her become the person that I know her as today, and why I love her so much is because she's been able to learn how to try at things and know that she might not win in that process. And I think that the business is such an amazing thing to do in life.
Teaches you to lose.
Teaches you to lose every day, and then have a high one day, and literally the next day it's like everything's falling apart again. So
it's sucking and stuff's fun.
Yeah, I mean, you go.
I was just gonna say, just because you get so much better at it. When you're great at something, like there's not much room for
it's true
for growth. So you hit the pinnacle of something, and I don't believe it's as fun. But when you're learning how to do a sport or something like that, like each session you do, you might level up 10%, and that progression, like you're saying, that's where the enjoyment is. You're like, I'm getting better in some way.
When I was saying it, I was more referring to the fact that, the Venus and Serena Williams, that sort of style of relationship, where my older sister was the one that was successful and really, really smart, super amazing at sports aerobics, and that was the same as Venus, and then Serena was the one that had to work really hard to get there. As in, my sister was
your second child.
Yeah.
And it's not that you both didn't have to work hard. Grace used to work very hard.
Course,
but it was the fact that she had no one.
She was like the feature at the start.
Yeah,
always,
she had no one in front of her to be compared to, where you had something to be compared to. So
I was Grace's sister, and she was probably Venus's sister.
Correct.
And then we have to work to become Meg and Serena. Not that I'm Serena Williams, but that's when I watched that video. What's the movie called?
King Richard.
It's such a good movie.
I tell parents as well, I'm like, you want to have a good athlete as a child, have 2 kids and focus on the second.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, why focus on the second one?
because from the moment you were born, you're always at a disadvantage. You're always.
Oh, I see. But I guess my sister. I feel I'm like my sister created me because
she created you.
yeah, as in technically she did because she was so impressive.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna get angry. No, but when you obviously your sister's older.
Yes.
So you're always trying to be like her.
Yes.
But you're always at a disadvantage.
Yes.
So
because she's older than me.
She's older, stronger, smarter, fitter, everything.
Yeah.
So you're always working at a disadvantage.
Yes.
And that comes back to you have to go through a certain level of struggle to overcome something.
Yes.
Not being as good as someone is a struggle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it made, if you asked me what my favorite thing about myself, it would be my work ethic.
Yeah.
Because I know, or one of my strengths or something like that, I would say my work ethic because I just know I can put in the work.
Yeah. And your sister helped create that.
Yeah. I know. I'm grateful.
That's what I always tell, because I know you go see successful athletes and you ask them if they have siblings, and most of the time they have
Middle child.
Middle or youngest.
Right.
Yeah.
That is true, actually.
Yeah. Because I think about that, because you don't know, you're subconsciously learning so much at that age. Like my brother would beat me up. He would he was bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
We'd get in fights. He'd beat me up. He'd take my food. It was always, I was never as smart, strong, fit, whatever it may be.
Fires you up.
Well, it just makes you good at losing. It makes you you realize I think you realize a few things. One, if you mess up, you're going to get punched in the face. And I think
which is good.
And I think that's great, especially learn at a young age, not at an older age. So I learnt that. And then every time we'd play sports, he'd beat me. And what do you do when you get beaten all the time? You can go two ways. You can either give up and be like, well, this isn't for me, I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. Or you go, how do I win? How do I get better? And you always I always love and that's the whole idea of mentors and coaches, is you get someone young who's got excitement, and then you get someone older with wisdom and knowledge, and those guys come together, and that's when you get this level up. But if you've had that from a child, from literally the moment you are born, the moment you come into life, you have someone that is wiser than you, stronger than you, and further ahead of you, that is not going to go nice. They're not going to be nice. It could be nice at times, but they're going to be raw.
Pretty full on, Grace.
That's what I mean. But that's
It was good. Yeah, healthy. I mean, worthy rivals, definitely.
Worthy rivals. Have you heard of that concept?
Oh.
So it's exactly what you're just speaking about. It's just the word, it's just the terminology that actually defines what that is. So Simon Sinek talks about it, and he says in life, really in every scenario in life, you can either look at someone as competition, or you can look at them as a worthy rival. And that's what a brother is you can look at it as someone to beat, or you can be appreciative that if they weren't there, you wouldn't be as good as what you are. And it's such an amazing way to think about, when we started to apply it to running, was that when you're running next to someone, you could be doing a healthy competition thing and being I want to beat this person. That's out of fear. Or you can flip it into love and say, I'm so appreciative that person's here, because if they weren't, I wouldn't be pushing this hard. And the flip side is that you don't even know what they're thinking, because when they finished, they thought, if you weren't there, I wouldn't have pushed that hard. That's a worthy rival.
Which is why the backyard ultras are sick, because it takes, have you seen backyard ultras? So the ultra marathons that are a loop, say it's normally 4 miles, which is 6.5K or something like that, every hour. And you just keep going until there's only one person left standing. But it has to keep
people
going.
go for 5 days.
Yeah. The record just got broken. I think it was 735 Ks or something. But you can only keep going. It stops as soon as there's only one person. So in order to go as far as you can go, 2 people have to keep running. So you want to beat that person, but you also want them to keep running so that you can keep going. It's a really cool.
And it always comes down to 2. It's not 5 people go, then one person just says, I'm going to do this next one.
It's normally 2 for 200K.
It's normally everyone's there, and then it just gets dwindled out, and then 2 just go for ages.
So they have to encourage each other if they want to keep going, but then they're also trying to break each other at the same time so they win. It's just a really interesting, I think it's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Because 2 people had to run that 730 Ks.
Yes.
And then 1 got to do 735.
Yeah.
But it's a state of mind. The worthy rival is a state of mind.
Yeah.
And an example would be if a podcast studio opened up next door, then you can look at that person as competition, or you can think, well, because that person's there now, I need to make this place cleaner. Maybe I should upgrade my cameras. Maybe I should do a bit of better marketing. Maybe I should go next door and ask him what he's doing well, and what I'm doing well I can share with him, and then what he's doing well he can share with me, and we can both get better because there's enough people around that we could both be the busiest podcast studios on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
If you think that way, it's competition is low frequency. It really is. Collaboration. That's a higher
Yeah, how
frequency.
do we work together? How do we both win?
Yeah, and so you can still go to battle with someone in terms of a race and something like that. As in, Meg's very competitive, right?
Really?
Meg's learning the collaboration side of things. But she's getting a lot better. As in, I'll beat the warm up for a HYROX race, and there'll be
So
someone that I'm
funny.
competing against, and I'll see him doing a sled push, and I'll say, dude, can I show you? Like, you're gonna get a better time if you push it like this, dude. If I'm gonna beat someone, I want to beat them on their best day. I'm not thinking, oh, look at their sled push. They got a bad sled push. That's where I'm going to get them. I don't care. It's like, I want that person to actually be their best so I can be my best. And I'm not saying that just happened to me overnight. That's from years and years and years of being crazy zero-sum game you have to lose in order for me to win, to realize that, one, that doesn't make anyone happy. No one actually wins out of that. You both just become losers. And the second thing is that there's enough room in the world for lots and lots of people to win. And you can go way further than you ever could if you start to collaborate. And so Meg's example of the Backyard Ultra. If that was me and another dude, I'm speaking with that guy. I'm running with him. I'm making sure if I see him not taking a supplement, I'm going to go tell him, because I'm like, I want to see how far we can take this together.
I'm on board with that
because
too.
the moment that you tap out, I probably only going to go 3 more laps, and then it's not going to mean enough to me.
You're only allowed to do one more
You get to
lap.
stop.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right.
So, I'm on board with helping our competition. I will help them any other day outside of comp day, but when it's comp day, I'm locked in.
You're not my friend.
As in, no, it's not that
Not
you're not
today.
my friend. It's not got anything to do with anyone else. It's just
As
that I'm
in,
so locked
funny
in.
story.
Yeah.
We're at
What?
Worlds.
What are you going to say?
We just came back from Chicago for the World Championships, our second World Championships, and leads in everything you said before, our expectations. The year before, we were one of 3 Australians at Worlds, and HYROX was just getting big. It's gotten so much bigger in the span of 1 year. This year, half the Gold Coast is over at Worlds, right? And then everyone has known from Meg's social media that we're meant to be the ones that are meant to win mixed pairs, right? So it's a different environment this year. Anyway, we travel. I got quite sick, and I made Meg sick leading up to the race, which sucked. But it is what it is. We got so sick, we went to the doctors, and they said, you should get on some antibiotics. We had antibiotics.
Why are you telling this story?
Because it's a funny story. We get antibiotics, and this is how, because
We're
Meg,
taking the antibiotics at the competition. This is what
and
is
I take it
happening.
out to take the antibiotics, which I'm meant to be taking in the morning, even though we're racing that day, because that's what we got told to do. And I want to get better beyond just the race. And then Meg says, put the antibiotics back in the bag. I said, what? She's like, you can't let anyone else see here that we're sick. They'll give them the edge.
I just don't want to. I didn't want to be having.
It's real though. As in
Yeah.
mental edges
Yeah,
are
100%.
huge in competition. But
And
in my
I
head, I'm just this. I was like, oh well, we just need to take this. Like, what does it matter? Like, this is the reality.
If I saw another team taking antibiotics, it would fire me up more to be. One, I would go and say, I hope you're okay. But 2, it would fire me up to be more like,
No, it just
okay,
it gives
like,
you the edge. It's like, oh, they're
sucks
sick.
to be sick.
Yeah.
Like, it's not your day. I don't know. I mean, I will
Because you
always
think
be
about
helpful
that
to
when
people, but
when
yeah.
you're thinking about quitting, you're like, well, they're sick, so
Mindset really helps.
It is
like,
true, yeah.
I do think
Well,
I am
mindset's
fully on
everything.
board with the fact that if you're an athlete and you're in a competitive sport, the mindset part of it is where you win. As in, there are people, I have watched how people train. Some people train way harder and way more often, way more frequently, and whatever it is than we have. But there is just something about they just crumble under the pressure when it comes to competing. And I think we love competing. We actually love the experience of competing. So we freaking thrive off that environment. And that's not quantifiable, as in no one can say, oh, your mindset rating is 10.0 and their mindset rating is 2.
Yeah.
As in, you can't quantify it. No one can measure how someone's mind impacts their performance, or from what I know. So I always think that's our edge. So I'm fully going to capitalize on that as much as I can.
I think about that a lot, and I think about belief
Yeah.
and how much belief plays into
100%.
that mindset. Because
Yeah, it's everything. Like,
that
it's
is
like, it's everything.
everything. It's like how much you believe in yourself and believe that what you are trying to do is possible. That is I think the biggest separator from like a good athlete and a champion is that
100%.
belief.
100%.
And I've seen
And real belief, not as in I'm going to tell the camera to make myself think it. It's like you know within
I
yourself.
know, and
I'm meant to be here.
Oh, and
Yeah.
it will just unlocks something in your body which makes you push harder or go further. And
freaking
you always
love it.
you always see it when it comes to like
Meg's fired up
I'm
just by
so
you saying
smiling.
this.
Do you want to go run a marathon?
you see it with like powerlifting or like world records or stuff, and everyone's like, it's impossible. And then some guys like, I can do it. They do it, and then once
everyone
one
goes,
person does it, it happens so often with stuff that is people believe it's not possible until someone does it, and then everyone does it. And like, what's the only thing that's changed? It's the belief that it can be done, and that's the only thing that. And I know in my own experience, when I'd go to an event, and I'd go to an event where I'm like, I want to do well, but I didn't believe I could win, and then I'd go to an event where I'm like, I can win this. I would show up different. My body would like everything would be different, and it's like you can't fake that. It's just got to be felt and like lived. But if you can, and this is when it comes back to again being a good coach or mentor or someone, if you can believe in someone else and show them and give them that belief, then that is like the start of that motivation before they might see it in themselves. It's going to hurry them down that path.
100%.
But like you said, you can't quantify, like you don't know what that percentage is in terms of like, oh, he believes in himself a little bit more. It's like,
I think it's so significant. One of the biggest factors.
Massive. Because you would know, and I think any athlete would know that people that can show up every day in the gym, on a track, wherever it is, and then they get to an event and they just crumble. And it's just like, I was always the opposite. I'd feel like a B grade rider, but then an A grade racer. And like, I could shift my mindset and go on a race and be like, I'm just going to win.
Yeah, I love it.
And when you go into that, and then it's like, how do you channel that and how do you give that to like other people to like use that? But again, when I kind of retired, I felt like I always had that as a superpower, that I could always race better than I would ride. And then towards the end of my career, I almost switched, and I like started to get more nervous and like getting in my own head. And I was like,
expectation changed.
I don't know. It just like, I just couldn't lock into it. I was like, I don't think I should do this anymore, because it's like, it's so dangerous. And if I'm not fully there, then it's just like, you just get hurt. And that's what happened. I just got hurt because I wasn't present. I wasn't in that moment. I wasn't believing that I should be there. And it was like,
that's such an interesting topic about the shift in mindset. Do you think it's just because you started to realize what could go wrong? Because I think about when I was going hard with skiing and I was just sending everything, as in just like massive drops and double backflips and just going nuts. And then as I got older, as in I just didn't know what could go wrong. Yeah. And so it was just this ultimate belief, but as in ignorance is bliss, man. I think it's the number one key to being successful in business is you have to be ignorant. But do you feel like that as you got on, you started to realize what could go wrong and you started to pull back?
Yeah, I definitely was more aware of it for sure. I was more aware of, and then you ride tight, and then you get anxious, and then that's when you make mistakes and issues arise. Yeah, for sure. And I think when you get older and you have had really bad injuries, you kind of you know it's there. You know what can happen, then you think about it, and then again, you're not present. My dad had this thing he told me, and I use it all the time, but he's like, he used to be a rigger where you'd like be on buildings, like doing welding and construction. And he said you have to walk on a beam from one side to the other, and it was about a 20-meter drop either side. And if I put a beam on the ground here, you'd walk across it back and forth, you'd jump up and down. Yes. Everyone looks at the fall. And he always said, when you're doing something, look at the beam. That's and it's just like that always comes.
It's like the ski in the trees.
Yes.
Snow in the trees.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if whatever you look at, like whatever you focus on, that's where you're going to go that way. So everyone looks at the fall. And it's like whenever I was doing something and...
It's actually such a deep analogy that way.
Yeah, just say, look at the beam. Look at the beam. Like, look at where you're going. Look at what you're doing. And I guess, like you said, I wasn't focused on the beam. I was focused on what happens if I crash. What happens if this happens.
Or whatever you look for, you'll find.
Yeah. As you hit what you aim for.
Yeah, even if you decide that you don't like someone, you're going to look at everything in them that's bad, and you'll find it because there's bad in everyone. Whereas if you decide that you think someone's really nice, everything that they even do wrong, you think, oh, they did it because of that reason. They kind of meant that, or whatever it is. As in what you see is what you choose to see is what experience you'll have from life and from people. Why are you smiling?
Well, it's what Dean said at the start. He said, love is blind.
Yeah.
As in, that's what it means. That's the definition of love is blind. Is because, and it doesn't mean that you are blind. It's just saying that you're really looking for all the things that you want to see in someone because they make you feel a certain way.
See the good.
Is that if we have an argument, that's the thing that Meg will say. She's like, "Can you not just look at the things I'm trying to do here?" Because it's hard. I've been in business for a long time. I love it. It's definitely my most knowledgeable space. because I think so highly of Meg, I never look at Meg as this is their first time in business. I know what she's capable of doing. And again, it can be a positive and it can be a negative when the expectation comes in. Is because I'm not going to treat her like it's her first time in business.
And you might miss things because you look at it through rose-tinted glasses. You don't look at it through and that's why I think it's really good to have people around you that would see those things. But then it's also like you've got to be really confident in those people as well.
Yeah.
I had a really close friend, and he got a girlfriend, and she got really fucked up at a party, like really drunk, and then she started hitting on me at the party.
Right.
And it just wasn't good. Anyway, I didn't tell him that. I just said, hey, I don't think you guys are good together. Like, pretty much all our friends thought this. His mum thought this, like, but no one would say anything to him. They just were like, oh, like, no, it's not my place. Anyway, after this happened, I was like, I got to say something. So I said to him, like, hey, man, I don't think you two are good together. I think that maybe this isn't, like, I just don't see, you don't seem happy, like, you know, you being yourself. He threw it back at me and pretty much said, you only have failed relationships. What do you know? You caught me on a bad day. I was like, said what I need to say. I'm out. About 2 months later, they broke up, and it was all a big, like, it was really toxic and bad. And I remember coming back to his place, and I just said to him, like, all the stuff I said makes a bit more sense now. And he's like, oh, I don't even remember what you said, and like brushed it off. But it was like, you know, when like I want to feel like I'm a good enough friend to say it, but also say it out of a place where it's like, there's grounds to say this, and you want to have those people around you to say it, but then also knowing within saying that you're going to get probably some backlash.
Yeah.
But as soon as you said, like, you don't know this shit, I was like, okay, like, I said what I got to say. I'm not going to fight you on this. You do what you got to do. And if it'll work out whatever way it needs to work out, and it did work out that way. But it was like, yeah, you want people to see the things you don't, but you also want those people, you want to really know who those people are.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why some of the best advice you'll ever get is from strangers.
Yeah.
But
because they're not biased to the information they're giving. They don't know you enough. They don't have a dog in the fight.
That wasn't a stranger though. That was his friend.
Yeah, I know, but like saying like his friends wouldn't tell him because they were his friends.
But if a stranger came and told him, he'd be like, well, you got nothing in this.
Right.
As in, you don't get any gain if I stay in this or not stay in this. That's why it's very hard to take advice from people that are very close to you, is because typically they have some sort of bias in the outcome and what happens.
100%.
I mean, we just believe in just tell the truth, and it's from a place of love, and then it's not your job to also control the outcome. As in, if it makes somebody not like you because you told the truth, you're telling the truth both because you love that person, but also because you love yourself, because you don't want to have to carry the burden of not holding that truth. As in, the truth will set you free. And I think often when we say things because we care about the person's opinion of us, when we say them, we're too scared sometimes to say them. Whereas I think if you just tell the truth from a loving perspective, then eventually, even if it's initially they get angry or whatever it is, eventually they always figure out that was actually the truth, or they get angry because they know it's the truth.
Yeah, angry because they know it's the truth is probably more common than not.
Yeah, there's a great quote. It says, if you want to upset a strong person, tell them a lie. You want to upset a weak person, tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Man, don't be telling me fibs. I'll find them.
You'll find them.
I want to touch on, we talked about this off camera before, but I want to talk about when like you kind of have your truth and telling your truth. And before I met you guys, I did a podcast with Cody Adams. Now, he was someone that was in your run club doing stuff like that, being involved in all that. And I wanted to chat to him because online, I agree he did some cringy content, but again, it was like he was just talking about how he used to do drugs and alcohol, and he changed and found running and found a passion and was going down that path. And I saw it as like, it's cringy content, but it's growing you a following. It's you're doing your thing. You're not harming anyone. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously online he cops heaps of abuse from people. I think that is too much. Like if I don't like someone, I don't follow them. End of story. People feel, and especially in Australia, there's this sense of if you gang bully someone, it's okay. And if you rip into someone behind a screen, it's okay. And I guess that's why I wanted to talk to him, because I was like, I like to get different perspectives on who people are. I want to talk to you. I want to know like what you're about, what's happening here. Obviously had a chat with him, and then looking at all the hate and stuff that kept coming. And then eventually he obviously said something that wasn't appropriate, but he got put in a place of just dealing with hate and being abused online for literally running working out and not doing drugs and promoting them. And people just ripped into him to then saying something, and then that pretty much people really coming after him. And I guess at the whole that you can't find like anger with anger, but it's also like having some humility and being like, we've literally put this person to a point where they've acted out and said something wrong, and now doubled down on hating them even more. Like, what's your like view on Cody and what happened and kind of like where he's at now?
Yeah, you go for it.
Just gonna say, I'm of the opinion that hate is never okay, no matter what. Constructive criticism is different to hate. So, yes, Cody made mistakes, and I am a big believer in, at that time, he was definitely leaning into the hate rather than leading from a place of love. And so that was always my feedback, was lead rather than irritate people or lean into the hate. I'm always lead by example. That's just the way that I am. And so that was feedback that I had given to him, was it's not about the likes and the following and all of that. It's about having a message that's strong enough to lead people a certain direction. That would always be my feedback before any of it happened. But then too is hate is just never okay. You shouldn't be calling people mean things or telling them to go hurt themselves, kill themselves, like jump in front of a bus. Like, that's not okay under any circumstances. And
like people with kids, dude. I'm not talking. These weren't.
Yeah, but we're not getting into the
20-year-olds.
specifics of it, because I don't want to deal with that either. It's just not nice.
But I'm not saying just about the specific scenarios. And you've got people that are raising kids that are on social media putting horrible comments towards someone's post, whether it's Cody or anyone else. Yeah. They got to raise these kids.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But hurt people.
Yes.
So I think it's very clear that the people that are commenting really unkind messages, hurt people, are hurting other people. I do think that if you have an issue with something that someone says, and I think it was warranted that he needed some feedback in this scenario, send him a DM or give him a call if you're close enough to have his number and have a conversation. That's exactly what we did. We didn't agree with it. We gave him a call and said, take that down, and this is the reasons why. And obviously he's now chosen to move forward from a negative event and make it a really positive thing. But yes, the people that live as if they've never made a mistake in their life, like the dude has. I'm a big believer that if you make a mistake and you make change, then you got to give them forgiveness and move on. If if he was continuing to put up the same videos, then yeah, I understand maybe the hate would keep coming. But he has completely changed his life. He's given his life to Jesus, and is completely different. So if you want to keep holding someone onto a mistake that they made, I'm like, well, sorry, did no one make a mistake in their life? I just think that's a bit crazy, but it's clearly coming from people that are just hurting on the inside too. And I hope that they find love too, because then they won't feel the need to comment such negative things. So in the same way that I can sit here and be like, oh yeah, those people are losers or it sucks or whatever it is, that's just me continuing to perpetuate the hate. I would be saying, I wish every bit of love on those people that are commenting those negative things. I hope that they find something that's going to light them up enough that if they see someone who does something wrong, rather than just jump down their throat, they're going to give them constructive criticism that they can learn from and move forward.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I mean, I'm with Meg on that.
Because it kind of, like you said, it creates hate. It's like all this hate, and then obviously makes someone think negatively, and then they project that, and then it just creates more. It's just this like cycle of just negativity that just swirls around online now. Yeah. And everyone gets dehumanized. Well,
yeah, and I'd also like to add that I think what would happen if Cody wasn't strong and he went and hurt himself? Would it still be that funny?
Yes,
Yeah, I think hate under any circumstance is not right.
I think that a lot, especially in this space. Like they had someone else on the Gold Coast that had said some stuff that got really blown up, and it's like people can get attacked now because they are like a bit more in the public eye, and these are young kids. Like they're literally kids, like the early 20s saying stuff, and it's like, oh well, they shouldn't say that. I'm like, they're learning, and like, yes, we live in an age where your voice can be very loud, and you can put stuff out there that gets heard by a lot of people, and it can be damaging, but then it also can be like very constructive as well, and go either way. But like you said, if all these people come after this kid, like imagine if he went and killed himself. You go, oh fuck, didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah, it's like you have suicide rates coming out everywhere in Australia. There's like people die every day from suicide.
Yeah.
And then just because this person's got like a bit of is in the public eye, that they're like, oh, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, I have had personal experience of where I see these people who have commented like negative comments towards me and are then doing run for mental health charities.
Crazy.
Like the amount of stuff that the amount
If
of times
hypocrisy
I've seen,
was an illness, most of the world would be sick.
But
It's
I mean,
crazy.
that in itself for me just shows why those people are doing it. It's because they're really suffering. And so again, I can sit there and be like, hypocrisy, like these people are being idiots. It's like, no, they're just really hurting.
Yeah.
So if anyone is going to comment a hateful message, and I'm not meaning constructive criticism, then they're obviously just hurting on the inside, and we should try and love on them, or we're just continuing the hate ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like either they don't understand it or they're hurt and they're just trying to like project that out into you. But yeah, like you said, it's hard. It's hard with comments because you see stuff and it's like, I feel like I don't really get that many negative comments. And when I do, you really like kind of like, why is that there? And where's that coming from? And you can really feed into it more so than you need. So I couldn't even imagine it on like a grand scale of hatred getting pushed out where like really bad stuff's getting said. So
yeah. I mean, separate to obviously the Cody situation specifically, I always say, because I definitely, used to struggle more, less so now, still hurts. If I get something negative and I'm the same, I don't get a whole lot of negative because I will block it. If it's going to be something derogatory, sorry, I don't want you on my page. I'm not interested. I'm an all positive page. So the thing that I feel is that this is what I know, is that there's nothing in the world that everyone likes. We said this before we started the podcast. There is nothing in the world that everyone likes. Not everyone likes the beach. Not everyone likes the sun. They're beautiful things, but not everyone likes it. So, of course, if you're going to be speaking your opinion on social media, there are going to be people who don't agree with it. But it's just, I wish that people could be a little bit more constructive with what they say rather than just derogatory or putting people down.
Yeah. And even now I see a lot like people hide behind faceless accounts and stuff like that. So it's even like a step back from not even being able to show how you feel as you. They need to hide behind something else. And I always get quite off put by those because it's like you're coming on here judging other people for putting themselves out there. Yes, whether you agree or don't agree, they're still going into battle with what they're saying, how they feel, who they are.
But imagine how you'd have to feel. Like if I said to you, what would you have to do or how would you have to be feeling to go and spend your time making fake Instagram accounts that have no followers to comment hate on someone video who clearly you don't have an interest in or like, as in, well, clearly you care, because I would never do that. I just would never do that. I couldn't.
But that's where our empathy comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
do you think about in any scenario?
You feel sorry for that person.
Yeah.
100%. And the thing is, it's also, it's not our job to prove them wrong.
No.
It's our responsibility to be the light and be the change that we want to see in the world.
Yeah.
It's my favorite quote. Be the change you want to see in the world. Because that's about you. Not controlling anyone else. Not saying, oh, look at how bad all these people are. If you want to see something a certain way in the world, then you go and be it through actions. And then you should be able to go and shine a light that's bright enough that other people want to gravitate towards that light and be more like that. And if more people embrace that quote, the world would just be a great place. So that's why you don't see Meg speaking too much about negativity that much on podcasts or speaks about it on her page, because she said, well, all the time I could be spent doing this. She talks about it to help other people. But she doesn't want to spend a whole lot of time posting about it because she just says, oh, I could spend this time just being the light and just being the person that I'm trying to be capable of being. And then people can gravitate towards the positivity. So I think people get very caught up in trying to be like, I have to prove that person wrong. It's, well, instead of spending any energy trying to prove people wrong, why don't we just try to prove to ourselves that what we think we can achieve, it is possible.
Stay focused on the goal or the mission.
Yeah, stay focused on you.
That's going to help more people. Like I don't think that you can save everyone on your path.
No.
So
and the thing is,
you have to either.
Yeah, it's not your responsibility.
Positively impact as many people as want to be positively impacted.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think what's nice about seeing Cody now that he has faith is, I think if you asked him his thoughts on the people that do comment negatively on his posts, he would probably say, man, I'm praying for him.
I know that he does.
I hope they find something that makes them feel as happy as I am. And
the guy's on fire, man.
Yeah,
As in, Cody's one of my closest friends.
It's a blessing that he has taken that positively. And it was really interesting to see the people that were in his inbox, because he actually did get constructive criticism from people. The people that were giving constructive criticism were mainly in his inbox. There was also hate as well. But he got,
and they were so nice.
Yeah, he got people who had been through stuff like that. And I don't think that anyone should talk about things that they haven't been through. That was one of the feedbacks that I did give to Cody, was we just don't talk about things that you haven't been through in general. It's just not, we don't need to. There's enough that you've been through that you can talk about. You don't need to talk about things that you haven't been through. That was definitely a feedback that I think is important. But those people that are in the inboxes are trying to educate rather than trying to put down. So there's a difference between disliking or not aligning with something versus just trying to hate on people.
Yeah, just make someone feel bad for your own validation.
Yeah.
But seriously, it was the best thing that happened to him. You're going to see him now.
Yeah.
As in, not that he had any problems or anything back when he was that. Obviously, he had stuff to learn, but the learnings that he had from that process and the accountability that he took over it was just phenomenal. As in, I call him Cody 20.0 because he's always just learning and progressing and going forward because he's so happy, he's so willing to take back on feedback. And so then he just realized that for him, that just wasn't the space that he wanted to be in and what he wanted to be doing. But Cody's very young. He's just turned 24 on Friday.
Yeah.
He's a young guy. He's still learning this sort of stuff, but he now knows so much.
Learn, yeah,
he has a willingness to learn, and because he's gone through something like that, which is not an easy thing to go through. Not many people do go through it at such a young age, and then use it to reflect upon himself to make better decisions in his life going forward. He's been able to put himself into a place in his life where he is the happiest, the most content. And not that he wasn't beforehand, but as in he thought he was happy and content. And there's so many levels of what you can take that to, as in what you know is so limited and what you don't know is unlimited. And so to see where he's actually progressed with that, to coming to know God, to giving his life to God, having a higher power than just himself, in the relationship that he has with his girlfriend now, and he's living in Bali, and he's got a great business that he started that's really successful, and he's giving all glory to the place where it's meant to go. If you believe in what we believe in, he's just like, he is on fire every day. It's just, it's so amazing. And he is so grateful for what happened, because he's like, it says, if you're a Christian, you should give praise in all seasons, and giving praise in what seems like a low time. So then go forward, because like what he's learnt from that has just been incredible. And it's tough. Like when you have someone that's close to you, it's like we had all this pressure to be like, you need to step him down. Like he needs, like, this is your fault, Mega Run. I was like, far out. And the thing is, the best thing to be in life is to be accountable. It's like, well, 100%. Like it is with us. Like where he's part of this club and he's got this platform and things like that. So we made moves off the back of that. But as Meg said before, it's wild to see the identity that people get and the validation they get from the masses through negativity. And it's so easy. Like it's so easy to be negative.
Like the mob mentality.
Oh, but it's so easy to pull something down. As in, how long does it take to build a building? Years. See him pull it down? 2 days, gone. As in, it actually takes so much time and effort to build things. It takes no effort to try to bring something down. And that's when we look at things like that, is that makes it, those sort of scenarios, and we see those comments, it actually motivates Meg and I. And not that like we're all these be all and end all people, but it motivates Meg and I to do what we're doing, because we really feel to our core that we want to help people realize that they are capable of more than that in all aspects of their life.
Well, everyone has something, a special calling, a reason why they're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And if everyone was living that, they would be so much more fulfilled and loving.
There wouldn't be any comments like that. It'd be, how can I help, or what's going on, and realizing that we all make mistakes, and genuine people who'd been through some tough times, of what Cody commented on, called him, contacted him, found his number, and actually spent time, like randoms, spent time giving him a phone call by getting his number through someone else to say, hey, I want to tell you about this, and so you know for it next time. As in, that's someone who actually wants to see a difference. Other people are just trying to get likes and do things, and it's just, you just realize that you should never judge those people at all. I don't judge them for being the way they acted or do what they do. I just feel empathy that they have that perspective, that that's an appropriate way to act. And the reason why I do have empathy is because I'm not sitting here as this perfect person. I was a bully when I was in primary school. I wasn't a very nice kid at all. And I was realizing that, well, that came from places of insecurity. I got bullied, so I thought the right thing to do was then go around and bully other kids. And you look back on those times and you just feel like looking back on it now, like far out. I can't believe I used to say things like that, or throw a piece of fruit at that kid's head, and then my stupid mates that I was friends with at the time thought I was funny because I did that. As in, you just realize that you grow up and that's not an appropriate way to act, but everyone else is just finding their way at life. It's not like, hey, is this your third time at doing life, Dean? Like, tell me how you did it. It's like we're all having our first crack at this. It's why don't we try to help people? And then if they don't want to listen, I say, well, then I'm not the person to help, but at least try.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's what you said. You want to pull these people up, but you realize you can't pull everyone up, and you can get stuck in that. You get stuck in trying so hard to try and teach people things that they don't want to learn.
Yeah,
and
I'm not interested in engaging with hate.
Yeah.
Because I can see that they're not looking, if you're commenting hate, I can see you're not looking to be productive, or you're not looking, if you gave me constructive criticism, I'll talk to you about it. But if it's just hate, I'm not interested in engaging.
Yeah, that was the first time we'd ever actually, because I always said to Meg, hard and fast rule, any sort of just blatant hate, zero attention.
Yeah.
It gets no airtime. That time was the first time we'd ever actually engaged back in, not comments, messages that we got to us personally about what was happening, that we engaged back. And I reckon we engaged back with 3 people and was like, dude, why are we even engaging back? The people weren't trying to actually get a productive outcome to make sure that things were right in the world. Yeah. People were just getting some validation over just trying to just complain and then whinge.
Yeah.
So we actually went back and forth with a couple of people. We're like, whoa, dude, these people don't even want a good outcome. They just want to whinge.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's not us. We're never going to get anywhere because we don't want the same thing.
Yeah.
We're trying to get better outcomes and whinge.
Yeah. So it's better that we just don't say anything and we just pray.
Yep.
Very fair. I was going to ask you, what scares you guys?
That's a great question.
What scares us? Got to think about it.
And I'm gonna say this because this is the most common answer, and it's normally what it says. People say unfulfilled potential, but and that's the literally 90.
The athlete response.
99% of.
I wasn't even thinking that.
I mean, I have always responded like that in the past. I normally would say, I mean, I do feel like when I go to heaven, like seeing God and Jesus and him being like, Meg, this is who you could have been. I'd be going, oh man. That definitely, I guess that used to be more of a fear, but now I just feel like I know I'm doing it.
But you only look at that, what you could have been, as being better. You don't look at them as being worse.
Yeah, that's
such
true.
An interesting point.
But I mean,
because you look at like God's like, you could have been this even more amazing person. You also could have been the person that was on crack. That's
very true.
It's a bit, when you believe in God, the belief is that his path for you is the greatest path.
That's what I mean. So why should there be another version?
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's like, this is the path I was trying to lead you on, and you were trying to do things on your own.
If you're getting led by him, then shouldn't you be on that path?
Well, it's
that's the whole point of saying like we're not submitting to it.
It's a constant fight.
We kept trying to fight it.
Yeah, it's a constant fight between calling and flesh, is what we would say. So like human desire versus what you're called to do.
Yeah.
I mean, but the Bible says if you punch Meg, I got to go hug you. That's a pretty hard thing to do. Right now,
because in order for you to punch me, you must be feeling sad, is what
and
it's
that's
saying.
Not very Christian to me.
It's like love conquers all, is the mentality of having faith.
Would you, if someone...
Probably not straight away, no.
Hit Meg, what would be your initial reaction?
My initial reaction would be, I'm a caveman. I'm going to get up and punch you in the face. As in, I still have so far to go.
That's not what the Bible says, though.
Yes.
But surely there's something about protecting the love of your life.
Well, it depends. Like if it's constantly attacking, there's things that like you have to do the right thing in terms of defend the life of someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends where it's coming from. I think there's going to be a part of me that my ego is going to get flared up, and a part of me that's going to be caring about Meg. As in, if someone pushed or tripped Meg over, it's going to be very hard for me to want to restrain myself physically from wanting to retaliate to someone. But it says in the Bible, you do not overcome evil with evil. You overcome evil with good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's an amazing section in the book of Matthew, and it says, is that you by doing it says, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. I think it's the book of Matthew. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If your enemy is thirsty, give him something to drink. If your enemy is cold, give him something to wear. And in doing so, you'll heap burning coals on his head. And what I used to thought that meant was to stun someone in such a way with your reaction that the heat burning coals would shock someone to be like, I can't believe that person just reacted like that when I've reacted like this, and it makes them reflect on what they're doing. But what it actually meant from biblical times was to heap burning coals on someone's head. They used to go and walk to where this heaping, like this big fire pit was, and they go pick up some coal, take it back to the house and keep them warm at night. So it says, if you do something poor to me, I should actually give you the coals of my bucket onto your bucket. So you go home that night, and when you're in home at your house in warmth, you'll actually reflect and think, I have this warmth because a person that really should have punched me in the face today actually gave me coals to heat my house. I can't believe they responded in that way when I acted like this. What does that person have that I don't have? And when they go on and try and reflect on it, then the answer is, well, I follow Jesus Christ, and that person is above my fleshly desires, which wanted to go and physically go and hit you. And then what it does is it takes away the ego in saying that, well, I'm meant to teach you a lesson. And it's as being Christian is saying that don't be so obsessed with trying to control the outcome. Just be interested in what you can do at that time to show people the love of Jesus Christ.
That kind of ties in as well with how you were saying before with like your biggest competitors are like actually there to help you. And it's like you're saying like I heard this thing the other day, I was talking about what makes a great story is the villain. And you were talking about before when you're competing and those guys are running and they're like, you could look at that person as the villain. But what are they doing? They're making your story better.
Yeah.
Making you go further. They're pushing
better.
you. It's like almost how do you befriend the villain in your story? And like you get the coals. You get all this, like it helps out. So it's like finding whatever villain is in your story, befriending them and learning from them and actually realizing they're here to level you up and help you in all these ways that you didn't even realize.
Or just even respecting their role. As in, you don't have to be friends with every single competitor you have, because not everyone has the same perspective that you have, but just
To show them respect.
and appreciate what they do in your story.
Yeah. Love them for how they help you, even though they're not. And then I guess looking at them as that, like it would probably mess with your competitors if they were being really mean to you and saying some nasty shit and you're just smiling at it and going, thank you.
Yeah.
Like I needed
it
that.
Does, yeah.
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic because it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
And then book of Romans, it says, and I love this part because this really hit my ego. And it says, you do not become more righteous in the knowings of the law, just more conscious of your sin. So you don't become a better person by knowing the Bible. You actually just become more conscious of your sin.
Yeah.
And that comes back on you, and not saying that, or you're a terrible person. It's saying, why don't you focus on what your inadequacies are and where you're sinning and not being a good person in your life, as opposed to looking at everyone else and saying, look at all the bad that they're doing. And it just, that comes back to be the change that you want to see in the world, because only you can control you. And we can spend this whole podcast talking about all these other people are doing wrong. It's like, well, why don't I just focus? It's not about being selfish. It's about saying that, why don't I just focus on what I can do? Because then that can make a change in me, and then that might have an impact on my wife, and then on you, and then my friends. And so instead of trying to change the world, just have an impact on the world around you. And if you can have a big enough impact, then maybe that impact on the world around you becomes so big that maybe it could one day change the world. But the goal with Mega and what we do isn't trying to change the world. It's just trying to allow us to be the people that we think we're capable of being, and to just change the world around us so the people that are around us are experiencing the light and have the opportunities to see that if they pursued their passions like we pursued our passion, then it's possible for them too.
Yeah.
Well, your greatest contribution to life is to pursue your calling. As in, everyone's here for a reason. If everyone did that reason, then everything would be better.
Yeah.
But fear? You don't really... I feel like my fear, and it's... I mean, in Christianity, you always say faith over fear. So if you're living out of fear, you're trying to control things in your life, versus if you're living out of faith, you're trusting and loving, like you're living from a place of love, that what is meant to be will be, kind of thing. But it's obviously a constant battle. It's not like you just wake up every day and are constantly in faith. It's recognizing when you have fear and leaning back into the faith, I guess you would say. So I don't know if we live consistently from fear, but I think one that probably comes up for me is, I think I get nervous of, there's so much that I want to do and share that I I don't want to, I don't want to die before I do that. As in, there's just so much that I want to give. And I always pray that I get a chance to give that. So I guess if anything, maybe that. But every time I feel that, I instantly am like, well, I have faith that God has a plan for my life and I trust whatever plan it is. So in any moments when you are in fear, you can always come back with faith. So I don't know if there is one that I live in every single day. Or else I would try and address that and journal about it and pray about it and see where that comes from. What about you?
I feel like you're really thinking it, like you're actually thinking about it now, like where
Dude, it was a very good question.
like loops around.
Yeah. I think you live in so much faith, Will.
I mean, I'm not trying to say this to sound arrogant. I just don't. There's not too much in my life. I'm trying to think of anything that I'm fearful of on a bigger scale. Like if you want to talk about micro things, I'm sure there's a bunch of little things I could say I'm fearful of this or fearful of this. But in terms of the biggest fear in my life is I'm not fearful of dying.
Yeah.
I'm not fearful of anything like that. And maybe I'm just very young and ignorant and naive. And maybe the day that I have kids that could change. But
I think maybe we'll have more.
I honestly,
that's a fear for them losing you, not for you dying.
Yes.
It's a difference.
No, I'm just so appreciative of being here.
Yeah.
As in every morning we wake up, the first thing we do is we get on our knees on the edge of our beds in our own time and we pray. And the first thing I always say every day is like, thank you for the breath you've given me today. Because that is the ultimate source of input of his life, is breath. And is in when you start to actually be grateful of the fact you can draw breath, dude, everything changes. Because now waking up every day is an expectation. I was like, well, the Lord might say one day, like, you're just not waking up today. And I go, okay, well, I'll accept that. But like, every day that I get to be here and experience what I get to experience is in like, dude, like my wife is amazing, man. I live such a dope life. Like we're sitting here, what time is it? 12:30 on a Monday doing a podcast. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's so true.
Why don't we just go walk 10K to get fresh water and then have an army come through and shoot up you, and then your relatives are getting smashed by tribes. As in like there's just levels. And I just feel like I've been through, not a lot, but as that I've been through enough to actually gain a perspective of what you should be really grateful for in life. And I don't always get it perfect, but I feel very blessed for everything that we have. And I love the fact that we're actually on a path where every day I get to wake up and work towards something that I'm actually excited about.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, that should be the goal, shouldn't it? Excited to wake up.
I was thinking about what you said about how when you're not driven by just the outcome, you lost some motivation.
Yeah.
I was thinking about being driven by gratitude, as in I can either feel bad that I didn't do anything to be given a lot of what I have, in terms of I just got born in Australia. I got born into the family that I'm blessed to have. That I didn't do anything to work for that.
Yeah.
I got given my body. Obviously I worked to keep it fit, but I just got given this. As in there's so many things that I've been blessed with that I could easily feel bad that other people haven't been given, or I could just be motivated every single day to make the absolute best out of the opportunity that I've been given. So I think if I'm thinking about that fires me up. I'm like, man, I got to do the absolute best with what I've been given to do justice for the people that have been given less.
Yeah. You kind of do it, show them and do it.
Mm.
Yeah. I had a thing after when I had that injury. I remember I said that I'd never complain about having sore legs because I didn't know I was going to walk again.
Far
So I was
Man, I was just going to say that when Meg was finishing that point, is and you get it.
yeah. I
You've been in that space,
I remember laying there and I was just like, I'm never going to complain about walking or hiking or
Wow.
I was like, and I literally have never complained about that from that point because it's
So
like,
good.
it's like, why
Dude,
complain
that's
about
very strong for you to be able to do that, because it's very hard to not become complacent.
Yeah, but I remember it was funny. I was at my house, and it was after the injury, and I was like still in a pretty bad way. And my housemate got back, and some stuff had been going on at work, and he was complaining about stuff, and I didn't even mean to say it, but off the cuff, I was like, "Oh, at least you don't have a spinal cord injury," and he stopped, and he went, "Yeah, you're actually right," and then he was just like, "It's not that bad." I'm like, I didn't even mean to say it as like. I just kind of like, it was just more of a joke, but it stopped him and he thought about it and he went, yeah. And it's like you say, like everyone's going through stuff that's way worse than what you are right now. So it's like being appreciative of that and going, well, I have the opportunity to do something and I'm willing to do it. So why not do it? And like, you're not promised that you're going to get tomorrow to be able to do it. So do it now. So just, if you can, go. And that was something I thought about when I was on the ground. It was actually the first. I've only ever prayed once, and I was praying on the ground as well.
Oh, I just got full goosebumps.
Well, I just got goosebumps as well.
That was one thing I remember laying, because this was like body's completely shut off, and I was just like, I've never prayed, and I was like,
I just got
If you
goosebumps.
can give me back my body and my legs, I'll do anything to spread positive, be a good person, help people, just please give it back. And it came back. So,
Mate, that is wild.
That's insane.
Does that not make you want to lean into something that's...
I know it's funny. I did a podcast, 360, the rapper?
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
him, and he's gone very heavily down that path, and we're talking, he's just like, you're pretty much Christian. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm open to all the teachings and what it's about, and I guess most of who I am as a person would lean towards that, but I've just never felt like I've needed to really attach myself to a certain religion. I've just kind of I feel like I take a bit from Buddhism or Christianity or whatever, and it's just take all the good bits from the bits I find interesting and go through life. But I did find it interesting that in the moment of extreme suffering and despair, that I did turn to something to ask for help. I thought that was interesting to have that. So I guess in that moment when it's fuck, you feel very alone, I guess we all kind of turned to someone or something. So yeah, it was just, I remember that very clearly.
Man, I got full goosebumps.
I remember that moment, but yeah, it was wild.
But I was an atheist.
Yeah.
Full on atheist. Meg was a Christian. She's always been a Christian.
I don't think you were an atheist. I think you.
So I wasn't. I just didn't believe. An atheist is you actively go against it. Yeah.
Atheists go and research and decide that they do not believe. People.
Okay, well then I
think
guess you
were
can call me
just
an atheist.
uneducated. You didn't do research on it.
Yeah. I did enough to think that this wasn't it. This just wasn't the way.
My mind. This is going to sound like really out there talk, but just say, okay, God created us, whatever. But then it's just who created you, and where was the start of it all past that point? We could be in a petri dish somewhere and in a lab, the whole universe, whatever it may be. Who knows where that eventuated from? But I just always go the point before that, what turned us on, what started that chain reaction, or say the Big Bang. Okay, what was happening 5 minutes before the Big Bang?
Yeah.
Who flicked the switch? Who did that? And I think that
you just got to watch the documentary of what was.
Oh, dude, there's a wild. It's not even on God. It's Morgan Freeman does this documentary called Life on Earth. Life on Earth?
I can't remember.
But I'll send it to you, but it is mind-blowing how the world came into existence.
But that's
mind-blowing.
That's their perception of how they think it is to that point. But then I'm saying before that.
But it's backed by legitimate studies that this is what happened.
How do you get studies before the black hole?
Because
before the Big Bang.
Just watch the movie.
I'm not smart enough to be able to answer those questions. But
some of those things, it's I don't even want to try and figure that out. And I guess that's the thing is
where do you want to spend your time? Where do you want to spend your time?
Yeah. Just to experience what's here, to experience the people who are here, to create those feelings of when you're doing the double backflip on skis or when you're competing at HYROX. To create those feelings, I think, is the reason to be here, not trying to understand it. It's as soon as you try and understand feelings and break them down and explain them, it just dilutes them.
Right.
So it's wouldn't you rather just feel and experience them and not have to understand everything and not have to break everything down? Everyone wants to know exactly why this is happening, or why this happened, or what's there. And I go, it doesn't matter. It comes back to wrong, right, and happy. It's I'd rather just be happy. It's blissfully unaware, because it's I don't believe that even if you give your best example of what you think happened, it doesn't really
impact. Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. Well, it's sweet. Even to a point, if it's okay, just say for example, Jesus Christ came down from the sky tomorrow and started being here again. Okay, how does that actually, you might believe, okay, sweet, you believe. How is your life going to be any different tomorrow? You know what I mean?
Massively. You get pushed into hell and everyone else goes to heaven.
Well, I was more going to say...
It's called the second coming of Christ.
I was more going to say...
But that's if you believe in that stuff.
Hang on. Yeah. I was more going to say that the reason I believe is not because of any reason or so that I can say a why or anything like that. It's just this undeniable feeling that I have that has changed my life.
Yeah.
And so when it's if I said the realization that the way that you live your life before you broke your back versus after, and the abundance that you would have from going through something like that, or maybe that was a bad example, but a time in your life where you've gone from thinking that everything was great to realizing it's so much greater. That's the only way I can explain faith. As in, I thought life was great and then it's way more amazing when faith is in it. So It's not so much about the nitty gritty or what religion it is or anything like that. We just say we believe in Jesus and we're a follower of Jesus rather than a specific denomination and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because humans are the ones that stuff up religion in our belief, as in because humans will always fail. So I would just say it's more a feeling, and it's just undeniable for us, which is why I guess we used to always think, why do Christians share their faith? Why don't they just keep it to themselves? Yeah. But once you feel something, once you find something good, you want to tell everyone about it because it's made it amazing for you. Yeah. So in the same way, that's how we feel about faith, is
it's like
what
eating
we've
healthy
experienced.
food, running, and all of that. You want
It's just an experience.
Yeah.
And when you experience people that you care about, you want to tell them about it.
Yeah.
There's a deeper motive behind it in terms of, if you believe in what it says about someone will be saved as a result of doing it.
Yeah.
And
because I definitely believe like there's a higher power, something put us here, like 100%. We're like, we got created from something. Like but it's just like diving so deep into that. I'm just like, life's short. I'm just going to enjoy being here.
Eternity is long.
So you believe like full afterlife if you believe, and you will go into. So I feel like you just transcend into everything and then get rebirthed through, like you just transcend through back into the earth.
I have always felt I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure out the nitty gritty of eternity because no one knows. So technically no one knows the specifics of anything to do with heaven or anything like that. But I believe there is a heaven and Jesus is the one responsible for it. So I'm just going to follow him and then it's in his hands when I get there. Yeah. So I'm not really a fan of trying to deep dive into all the different levels of heaven and things that happen, as in I'm just going to live my life here because not only, even if it wasn't real, I'd still live my life the same way. Yeah. So that's how I feel. And I think, people can get really caught up in the nitty gritty of it. And I see what you're saying in terms of it's just a waste of time. I think it is.
I don't think it's a waste of time.
Okay. Well, I think as in, I'm not interested in going down the whole of the specifics of things that people cannot figure out. That's what I mean. But what there is to figure out that they have figured out. And, Jesus is a real human that did come and was sinless. And it is one of the most, it is the most widely researched and confirmed thing. That, like, I find that
I think they're hard pressed to find any legitimate scientists that will actually say that Jesus Christ didn't exist. Yeah. There's no faith in there's no religion in the world that denies the existence of Jesus Christ.
But
I'm not saying it's a waste of time. I was just saying the trying to understand everything and then like quantify and make sense of it. I think that is just, like I said, be a good person, look after your friends, do everything that I guess the Bible like encapsulates. But I just do it without trying to understand, like, again, the nitty gritty of all of it or how it works. It's just like be these things. But I don't think it's a waste of time. That was never the idea. But it's like you said, if it makes you a better person through thinking a way, it makes you show up better and treat other people better, then like,
all for it.
Yeah, do that 100%.
We'll work on it.
That's exactly how I lent in.
Yeah,
because there's two parts. There's just the way you act as a person, and then there's the spiritual side. And I'm a very I need to see something to believe in it, and all this. If it doesn't make sense, like, well, that's silly. Yeah. But when someone actually explained to me exactly what the gospel, the story of Jesus Christ, and what the Bible said, I was so impressed about what the Bible said about how to lead a life, and how I lent in was I just said to myself, even if there's no spiritual stuff or anything else here, exactly what you've just said, I'm going to live my life close to this book. So if I do, I'm just going to be a better human being. Yeah. And then by following in it further and not even getting that technical about it, then everything else just flowed off the back of it. And it's hard to describe how much it's changed my life and how much it's just, you have somewhere to put your ego. As a guy, you have somewhere to put your ego. Because before that, you read Stoic books and you think, okay, well, I know ego isn't good. It's not leading me down the right path I want to be in. But you think, like, where do you actually put it? What happens when you get squeezed? And what happens when I got squeezed was like ego was still coming out. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's completely gone, but then when you have successes in your life, instead of saying Dean's the man, you thank something that's greater than you for allowing you to have this body and this mindset and these opportunities to do that. Because how else can you construct what happens in your day? And there's so many trillions of things happening every moment of every day. Everything had to happen in your life, in every one of your ancestors' life. You just sit in this chair speaking with me right now.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's out of control. It's unlike that's the part where you can go down the rabbit hole and it just freaking blows your head. Yeah. but as in it actually brings so much simplicity to the whole thing to think there is a creator. We are here by design. He does have a plan for all of us. And if we actually do our absolute best to deny the desires of our flesh, which is to rob and steal and be mean to people and try and spiteful and get ahead by doing those sort of things and just do it with love, because it is harder. It is much harder to build a business with really strong morals and with doing the right things by people and being truthful all the time. It is hard to do that. But again, you're the only one that has to put your head on the bed at the end of the night. And if you believe in something greater than yourself, you know that even if other humans didn't see it, he saw it.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to impress you. I'm like, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is good in the eyes of the person who made this all possible.
Yeah. Lead your life that way. I'm going to let you guys go, but before we go, we've been chatting, we've got some time in the seat. I was going to ask, what is coming up for you guys? Like, what's exciting? And you obviously we didn't even talk about the fact you just won Worlds, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did.
Meg, hang on, man. Because Meg never does it justice for herself. She's far too humble.
Thank you.
We had a tough race.
Yeah.
Will has glandular fever, and I think I must have got glandular fever.
I just got the bloods back before we came in here. Anyway, look, it's a part of training and traveling and racing, that sort of stuff. It just wasn't the plan for me to go out and race the race that we were capable of racing. It's just what happens in sport. You get that, right? You're not always going to get it perfectly done. It was really tough to go overseas and put all that effort in and race and for it to not go well. Even after we just spoke about where our faith is, it still sucks. But then that was on the Saturday, right? And then the Sunday, then Meg had her pairs race with a girl called Molly. And do you understand the format of HYROX about the tiers work? So you know there's the Elite 15.
Oh, I don't know these parts.
Okay, so there's a category in HYROX where people race the whole year, and if they get the best races of that year, they qualify and they can be the top 15 races of men, women. And they also this year just released women's pairs and men's pairs. So they have their own race that only 15 people are on the course for men and 15 people on the course for women. And then the same thing for pairs. So 30 people, but in pairs on the course with no one else there, just spectators. And it's meant to be the 15 best in the world. Meg was meant to race. Meg was going to a qualification race to qualify for the Elite 15 for women's pairs. And for whatever reason, she didn't end up doing that race with the person she was meant to do it with. Then she goes and races later in the season of not a qualification race, but then still qualifies for World, but not in the Elite 15. So they're meant to be the best. And then Meg and Molly go out and race on the Sunday. And Meg was feeling sick as well, wasn't feeling her best, didn't know exactly how she was going to go. And they raced so well together.
We've both already done a race too.
Yeah, it was both the second races for the event. They raced so well together as a team that not only did they beat all the Elite 15 women's pairs, they beat all their times. They have a course with no one on it. Molly and Meg have to race with a course that's got everyone in it. And it's a slightly different course as well, which I think is a slower course. So they're racing on a slower course with packed people, beat the fastest Elite 15 women's pairs by 20 seconds, and come 13 seconds off the world record.
And we had slower sleds because the world record was set with the other sleds.
Well, I mean, there is an argument about the slower sleds, but
they changed the carpet,
dude. It was so
amazing. He's talking. He's like, end this.
Well, I only just thought of that.
Look, we're not going down the rabbit hole of the slower sleds saga. There's been enough complaining about that already, but not by Meg, by the freak.
I'm not saying between the results at the same race. I'm saying it was a whole different race.
Oh, for the world record time. Yeah, yes. Of course. But again, like, as in it was, I reckon it was that much more exciting because we didn't have a good race the day before. And then to go out and again, no expectation. As in Meg came into the race and I said, what time do you think you're going to do? She said, I've crunched the numbers with Molly. I think the best thing we can do is around a 56, which is a minute 40 off the world record. And so the intention was just do your best race, go for a win. Yeah. And then, man, they were coming off the farmer's carry on their run and Molly's husband, George, was timing it and he shouted me at the time they were doing and I started just running some math in my head and I was like, wow, dude, they're going to hit the record right now. So I completely lost it. As in, they were coming in on the lunges and I was dude, I was so sick. I had my hoodie on, had glasses on. I had a toilet paper roll in my hoodie pouch. So I was blowing my nose so much. I look like a drug dealer at this event. And then I'm just screaming. The whole time I've been really calm because I was just feeling really bad. I didn't want to yell too much. And I'm just unloading on Meg and Miles like, this is it. You gotta go now. And Meg's looking at me because she's not timing the race.
Yeah.
She's thinking, what is Will yelling at us for? This is really aggressive.
I thought we were stuffing up our technique.
Yeah.
I thought we were about to get a red card or something like that.
I was just lost my mind. I was just screaming at him so loud. Because have you been to a HYROX?
No.
Dude, it's a spectator sport. It's so sick to watch. As in, I'm hyped sitting here thinking about it. And then they came in and they just did this. They just did a great time. And as in, they raced together 3 months prior in the open category and did almost the same time, but then in the pro category, which is much heavier weight. So they just put together a really good race, raced really well together. And I think for both of them, because I don't think Molly was overly stoked with her solo on her first day, and Meg was bummed out with our race. It was so good to see the two of them just think, this is so sick.
And no expectation.
Yeah.
No expectation behind
know.
it at all. And then so Meg, 2-time world champ.
Thank you. Very nice.
Mic drop.
Yeah, it was sick.
As you can tell, I'm stoked.
Well, it also
Meg's
just felt like
biggest
a win
supporter.
for everyone. It was one of those, I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments where a whole team helps you get to that point. And it felt like initially on the first day, it's even our nutritionist, our physio, our coach, it just feels like everyone loses. And then when you win, it's like, it felt like everyone.
Yeah.
As in Will got to share that win. Molly's husband got to share that win. Our physio, our nutritionist, our coach, everyone. It just felt really good. Felt like a whole team win. It was sick.
That's great.
Yeah.
And when are you competing again? When's the next thing you're having?
Only our biggest competition ever coming up this weekend. It's
so
the most
funny.
important competition we've ever had.
I'm taking the piss or not?
No,
I'm racing with Meg's dad. And
sorry, you did say
I'm
that.
racing men's pairs with Dougie Sutherland, the axe. He's 70 years old. We're going to throw down.
My dad is
We're racing this
very
weekend. And then Meg's racing with her mum
And so is
down
my
in
mum.
Sydney. And then Meg's going to do a solo race, which is cool. But we're really excited to go down. And it's just, when we came before, you said you'd love, you want something at the moment physically to want to work towards.
You guys didn't even pause.
Yeah, we were just unloading
It
on
was
you.
great. No, it was good though. As soon as you said that, I was like, well, yeah.
That's why we encourage people. Man, it's not just the business we're trying to grow here. We're trying to go with the programs. Man, we tell everyone about trying to go with the programs. It's because it's two things in life. It's application and accountability. If you can apply yourself to something and have a crew of people around you that keep you accountable, you can do insane things. And most people in life don't have the application. So if you can get something that seems as menial as a HYROX race or a running race, that it can just be the catalyst for you realizing you're capable of more. And then the people you'll meet in the process of doing that will eventually become closer friends to you. Then you want to become associated in that environment. Then all of a sudden, bang, you see someone 12 months later, they're a different human being.
Yeah.
So, yeah, seeing Margs and Doug have an event to train towards and actually be able to know, I want to go to the gym. I feel like I need to go to the gym because I know that this race is coming up. It hasn't been a pressure thing for them. I guess it is, but not in a negative sense. It's a positive pressure to say, I now have a reason to go to the gym as opposed to just trying to be healthy for life.
Yeah.
And like they didn't drink for, how long was it?
A few months.
A few months. And not that they were heavy drinkers,
My
but
dad is going to love it.
yeah, they were so stoked with Dougie.
You just lock in a bit more.
Yeah.
Meg's mum is where she gets the dog from, dude. As
My
in
mum is
Meg's
straight
mum,
savage.
Margs is a savage.
As in, my mum is injured right now, and we said to her, okay, mum, you're not allowed to race. Like, we're not racing. And then she goes, maybe I will just race. Thinking that's exactly what I'm like too. But even doing the pro solo is it this weekend? What day are we? Monday?
This weekend, yeah.
Doing pro solo this weekend, I haven't really trained properly in a month. So my fitness technically would be declining.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in my head, there's part of me that goes, I don't want to do that because I don't know if I'm going to do well. But as Will said, it's choosing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation where I would normally not race unless I thought I was 100% going to win and smash it. So here's me doing something that's uncomfortable to me because I don't know how it's going to go. I might get a time that I'm really unhappy with, but it's the process of doing the uncomfortable, not the specific outcome of the HYROX race that I think is good.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep finding those uncomfortable things. So I will feel good doing the race regardless of the outcome because I know that I really didn't want to.
When you said that, I came up with an idea as a match that's like paralyzed by perfection. And you get paralyzed because it's like if you
that's
don't,
very good.
You're not perfect, you don't do it. and you don't do anything because nothing's ever perfect.
So good. I mean, I know we got to get off this podcast, but the one thing that I always said to myself when I started on social media was, for example, if I was filming a talking story, as in promoting something or just talking about concepts, kind of like a podcast, whatever I recorded the first time, I had to post. Yeah. So it gets you in the habit of, one, being real, and two, not being a perfectionist of yourself, because otherwise you'll sit there and you'll spend an hour.
You just don't give yourself the option.
The same
First
video.
take.
And if you don't give yourself the option, then you start just figuring out how to make it work. So you might stuff up your words, you might say it weird, but you just go, blah, and then you keep talking. Yeah. And then you realize that you post that, people appreciate more the fact that you've been real and just posted something authentic, and that it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. I think that thing in itself has been one of the best decisions I made from the start of social media.
Yeah.
Forces you to keep it real and be confident in the fact that you're not perfect and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Because I swear the first time you do the video, it's the best as well.
Yeah, it
Before
is
you mess
the
up
best.
and then you stop and and then you try and redo and you
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Well, it's the most authentic.
Yeah.
What's the next big thing for you?
Big thing for me.
Yeah.
Well, this girl coming home.
That's exciting.
Probably. That's probably the biggest thing at the moment. I don't know. I want to set my life up so I can travel more and work and travel. So that's the kind of plan now.
Okay.
I want to have this place that runs by itself without me here. Well, not by itself, but with the manager and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to, travel and work out a way to make money while I travel. I've got some like options.
Sweet. Are you looking for a full-time manager for here?
Somewhat. I've got a girl that I've been seeing, but
Okay.
well, I feel like you've got a name. You're thinking.
Matt, we've always got, from doing Mega Run, you get to see who's real and who's not.
Yeah.
From running. And so we've always had a whole, we said with our business, is like as our business starts
We've
to
got
grow,
a list of the people
we already knew the
wanna hire.
people we wanted to bring on because we
Yeah.
got to see what they were like when you can't fake stuff. As in, if you, so I said to anyone, like if you're looking for staff, call us because we're about to tell you straight away, like this person will be a gun, because you don't necessarily want someone who's an expert. People that are typically experts at something aren't the best people to hire because they're just painful.
Yeah.
They want to do it their way. They think they know the right thing. As in the best people are the ones that are willing to learn, that just want to actually put the work in. So, yeah.
It's an option, but just travel, fall in love and travel.
Sick.
It's a freaking great answer.
That's the main one at the moment. Do that. The rest will fall into place.
Dude, that's
Well,
a
we're
great
cheering
answer.
for you. I love love.
Yeah, I know you do.
No, it's
Look at
great.
the
I
smile on
also
your
want to like
face.
travel because I was telling because I haven't done that many podcasts recently. I've been a bit slow with them. And when she comes back, because like you only talk to someone like, let's get you out to the world and like share who you really are and like.
That's so nice that
see
you're
how-
excited to do that.
And I'm like, if we could do that and travel and like show that like you can meet people. I guess you guys are doing that in a way with like competing and being together and showing like what a strong couple can do and how successful you can be and like being that. Like I want to be that. And it's like if you can travel and create content and do podcasting and show that like you can live this life. Again, it's like you guys talk about it how you want to show other people what to do. I always call it like you just like to give someone a push. It's like you don't want to baby them, you don't want to like carry them, you just want to give them a push in the right direction.
Yep.
And it's like through doing the running, through doing the exercise, through all these different things, you're pushing them down the path that they should go down. And it's like once they get that momentum behind themselves, they can do whatever they want. It's like you guys just want to be like, hey, try this. Do this.
Well, we want
Meg?
to be the people that help them believe in themselves, because the belief is what is going to help them step into their calling.
Yeah.
I think that's everything that we do, is either inspire them to believe in themselves or be the people that help them believe in themselves, because that belief will direct them exactly where they need to go.
Exactly.
That's sick.
Good mic drop.
Freaking great mic drop.
How long have we been going for?
I have no idea. I don't have a watch.
Mate,
on.
I think that's the sign of a good podcast.
Oh, it's great.
Man,
yeah.
it was just, you asked some great questions.
No,
Man, the
for-
question about fear, do you normally ask that question?
Yeah, I try and
It's
get
a
going there.
very, very good question, especially if you want to get someone to I had to really think about that. Another question that you asked about what has been one of your happiest memories, it really makes you stop and think.
Yeah. I try and, if I meet someone like a random person, I try and ask questions that really get
Make 'em
people
think,
yeah,
yeah.
and you can see it and you go, oh, that's different. When it was funny, I met an ex-girlfriend of mine and I just asked her like very raw questions and she's like, no one's ever just come up and asked me that. And I was like,
How am I supposed to get to know you?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it made her start questioning herself. And she's like, that's why I had so much, and we're still friends now. It's like, that's why I had so much interest in you, because you actually were like asking things that weren't just like surface level stuff. And I was
Well, it's like, hi, how are you? You go to the grocery store. Hi, how are you? Yeah, good. How are you? Good.
Yeah.
We
You
didn't learn
know,
anything
you know what the
about
best
each
question
other.
to ask someone in those scenarios is, and this is such a great one. What's if you check out at a grocery store, getting a coffee, whatever it is. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, good. How you doing? Yeah, good. What's been the highlight of your day?
People are
You
so
ask
taken
someone what the
aback by
highlight of
it.
their day is.
Yeah.
This is gonna be their first response. Oh, I don't know. They're not expecting it. You say,
Or-
no, seriously,
or
like, what's the
nothing.
highlight of your day? And then the first thing they'll say after that, second thing is, because they made them think.
Yeah.
And then they'll be uncomfortable mostly and they'll say, oh, nothing. And you say, but that can't be true because there has to be a highlight of everything that you've done as well as a low light. Then when they answer that question, they're going to tell you something that actually matters to them.
And they say the craziest things. You
Yeah.
think, you just told me that nothing happened, but your son-in-law just had a baby.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then you actually build a media rapport with someone about something they actually care about against some nonsense. And you know how I figured out how to do this was I was trying to crack this girl at a cafe, and I wasn't trying to hook up with her. Like she was not the sort of girl that I'd want to go out with or date. I was going to this cafe every morning before work, and I just couldn't crack this lady. She just wouldn't crack a smile. I couldn't get her. It was like this thing, and it went on for about a week. And I thought, I don't like how I can't get through to this person and actually build any rapport apart from, hey, what do you want? Sit down, thanks.
Yeah.
And then I just kept thinking about it. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to ask her this question. I said, what was the highlight of your weekend? And she went, oh, I didn't have one. I said, no, what was the highlight of your weekend? And then I pushed her on it. And she said, the highlight of my weekend was I went out with my friends to this new burger place. I love eating burgers. And they had this burger. It's epic. And I go, man, I freaking love burgers. Where's this burger place? I got to go check it out. And then every time I went back afterwards, it was like, did you get a burger? Like, what's happening? And then the moment you have one thing that you actually care about with someone as a point of conversation, then the trust opens up everywhere else. And then every time I went there, she's like, I didn't have to wait in line. She had a table. She just knew what I ordered. Like, it was all sorted. But she could have figured that out after me going there for 2 days.
Yeah.
But it took over a week to even get past a hello, is because it was just going through the motions. So anyone listening, I encourage that. If you want to have a better conversation with someone, ask them what the highlight of their trip or the highlight of their day or
And
the
push
highlight
them.
of something is.
Push them on it.
Yeah.
Push them on it. And then straight away, if you do push them on it, they have to think about the thing that mattered to them most in that scenario. And you talk about that, you'll have a great conversation.
Yeah. You watch them soften.
And then put it
Yeah.
in your phone so you don't forget. That's a good one. Because when you remember, it matters.
When you remember, it matters.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a really good memory, which
Unless
is not
just
my strong point.
Be more memorable.
Oh, thank you. I'm memorable. It's me that has the bad memory.
I remember
so
people names though. Names like I hate though because if I love someone, like really think they're a sick person, but I forgot their name, I don't want them to think that
sucks.
they take away from that because I'm
Yeah.
like you are. I just
Yeah.
ask them now. I'm like, hey bro, I forgot your name, but you are like
Yeah.
you are everything I need right now.
Well, Will's.
I'll remember the conversation.
Yeah.
As in,
You're bad
the
with
thing is, I
names.
get invested in someone's conversation and the name just goes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
But
so,
your,
yeah.
your grandma used to do it so well, as in his grandma was so amazing at remembering things. And I used to say, how do you do it? And she'd never tell us. But one of the cousins let it out to us that she had in her phone. Even if, say, you'd go to a coffee, you could say like, what's it called? Commune Cafe girl with red hair or something. You
Yeah.
write their name once you found it out and something about them,
That's
and
what
then
I'd
every
do.
time you go
Yeah,
back,
that's what I'd do. I just write down a name and something, and
Yeah.
then I started doing a trick where, just say a guy's name's Stuart. I'd think of Stuart Little, like the mouse,
Yes.
and then I'd
Yeah.
always just relate. Oh,
Poor Stuart.
Yeah.
He's the little mouse.
But yeah, trying to have like those little things, but it makes a
Yeah.
big difference when you remember someone's name.
It
But
does.
that's what you're doing. It's an emotion. You're trying to attach an emotion to someone's name. You can remember that emotion, then emotion, you go, bang, that's that person's name.
Yeah, yeah. All right, should we pack it up, guys?
Yeah, you're gonna have to
Wrap it
kick
in.
us out.
Yeah, no, that was great. I really enjoyed that.
It's good to hear
That-
we're
that was
all
really-
unemployed
Really good.
on a Monday.
It's really out of work. Thank you guys. We appreciate that.
This was
Thanks,
awesome,
team.
man.